Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Welcome in, Panther fans. The team is 1-11, right? Is it 1-10 or 1-11 now?
Something like that.
1-11. Ugh, yuck. And man, we spent this post game after a loss to the Bucs trying to figure out how the Carolina Panthers could potentially right the ship in the coming years. As a couple of days have settled in and more people have chimed in throughout the NFL world, there's a growing sentiment that things ain't getting better anytime soon for the Carolina Panthers, and things continue to point back to the guy with the giant dome, David Tepper. We're here on the Carolina Cat Chronicles. Well, actually, what the hell am I talking about? We're here on the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Tonight's show, league experts fear Carolina faces years of losing. Well, the C3 Panthers Podcast has been here for 10 years, and over the last 5, we haven't made the playoffs. Now make it 6 this year as Carolina continues to struggle to find their way under the ownership of David Tepper. Now, once again, with an interim head coach in Chris Tabor. It sounds like interim means the coach of the Carolina Panthers these days. And I guess now we have to look forward to the NFL draft. Like 7 months away, 7 months away. And people are doing mock drafts, talking about who the wide receivers they want. Hey, and we might as well wait 7 months in one day because we don't get a pick on day one. That's right. How we fix this, I'm not sure, but we'll be here to figure it out. Cody Lack, welcome back to the show.
Tony Dunn, my brother. CK, my brother. The Bat Daddy, my brother. There is no way I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with my boys talking Panthers football, and the record be damned. I don't care what it is. That remains true. I want to talk Panther football every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Man, we have so much to talk about. Is David Tepper going to be the reason why the Panthers are an underachieving team for the next few years? Does Adam Thielen already want to be traded from the Carolina Panthers after signing a 3-year deal? Are we just going to trade off every good defensive player that we have in order to build for the future? We're going to talk about all that and more tonight with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. And you already know him and love him. It's our guy, Drew. Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel. What's up, buddy? Brandon Sampson, Charlotte Sports 1, Dimitri Contos, John B. Jenkins. What's up? King Jermaine, the First Shepherd. What's up, buddy? Kristen Ledane, Paisan, Muscles Marinara. What's up, brother? Hope you're feeling better. Panther Gal 73, Roosevelt Mongo, the real C3 AP, Tim SS, and that boy White Chocolate Espresso. Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We'll take your calls as we continue to unpack the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. CK, man, Panthers fans are tearing each other apart out there on these streets, man. Them streets are fierce in their hatred or united hatred for David Tepper and their divisive defense and attacks over their quarterback, Bryce Young. Man, 2 days go by. It feels like 2 years of the same arguments.
Yeah, it's somehow we're back at square one where we're basically talking about, I don't want to talk about quarterback until we have the conversation about offensive line. Like it's just this endless, like, honestly, when you think about the potential of what hell could be, it seems like a pretty good punishment, if you're asking me. Like you talk about fire and brimstone. How about be a Panthers fan for the past 5 years?
Just
Now you
make-
tell me if you're happy to be alive then.
Yeah.
Oh man.
God, that's right. And Greg, the Bat Daddy here, popping in. Good to see you, my friend.
Man, it's always great to be back. And Cody, I want to go back to what you were saying a moment ago in your little intro. You were talking about is David Tepper, we got to determine is. No, man, a long time ago, he is the problem. It's not trying to figure out if he is. We know he is. We talked about before we got on the show, like an exact point you can go back to and say, okay, this is the point where, even though you've been failing so far, where you just totally took a nosedive. And I'm sure it'll come up tonight. But, man, I've, in my entire fandom of being a Carolina Panther, I've never been so hopeless for this team. And I'm not pinning that on any one person. Well, actually, I could pin the majority of it on one person. But it's so disheartening to be a Carolina Panthers fan right now. I feel like we're going to go through the Cleveland Browns stretch where for years we're just shit. And maybe one day will be something, but even right now, the Cleveland Browns aren't like world beaters. I mean, they're
no. Made the playoffs with Baker once, and
so
they haven't really done a ton since then.
It's just
a lot of talent.
Man. Yeah, and that's the problem is we just lack talent on every aspect of this game. We lack talent in every single position, and I don't know what we're going to do in the future to fix this. But I did say a while ago that if this whole Bryce Young thing didn't work out, we're screwed for years. And guys, I think we're screwed for years, to be truly honest with you.
Lots of work to be done in Carolina to right the ship. The question is the ship heading in the wrong direction, or is it sinking at this point? Can we patch the holes to get it back afloat and then reinforce it in a way that leads us some destination that is better than the one that CK described?
The light at the end of the train is the end of the tunnel is a train.
Well,
sucks.
We've been run over, it feels like. We got all that, but look, we'll have months and months of head coach talk. We'll have months and months of draft talk ahead of us, but right now we've got current football talk. And boy, the league, there's some analysts around the league that are really you think of fans talking about this stuff. There's some analysts out there. Maybe they're just giving the 50,000 foot overview of the team, but some real concern about how much it's going to take to get Carolina back on track. Right. And right now the question is who and how and who can do this? How can it be done? A lot of names are being circled around. At least Harbaugh continues to be thrown out there as a program builder. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button, folks. Subscribe. Check us out on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Get your calls in. Cody, let's go ahead and get into this show.
Let's do just that, man. The title of tonight's show is League Experts Fear Carolina Faces Years of Losing. And just like the bad daddy said, that's what we're all afraid of right now. We're afraid of, do we have a meddlesome owner that doesn't know how to get out of his own way? Is he going to continue to one and done these coaches every year from here on out, being in this type of mindset that is win right now? A lot of people are still questioning whether we got the right quarterback. And now people are starting to question whether or not we're even scaring away potential candidates from wanting to come be a member of the Carolina Panthers. It's wild times right now. Let's jump in to our show today. You put this first,
this
Tony.
Is funny.
Yeah,
this is funny. I tripped out on this, and you know what? And now this has just kind of gotten reinforced in some different ways from different directions right before we came on the show. But this person at CPP fan from the D, also known as Carolina Panther Pride, he said, all right, I'm making a Bryce Young hater thread at one of the biggest haters you know. So we have receipts. I opened this up and I said, man, I wonder where Cody's at up here.
Every other person
tagged you like, what is the current count? I'm going to look it up.
Dude,
what is the current
all
count?
I know is that all day my Twitter has just been going off with people tagging me in this one post.
In this one thread?
Yeah, in this one post. And dude, listen, this is all gravy for me, y'all. if Bryce Young turns out to be the best thing since sliced bread one day, and the worst thing I have to go through is people bringing up my old shit on Twitter, dude, I'll take it, bro. I'll be a martyr for the Panther fandom if I must. I don't give a shit. Everybody has this idea that reasonable, logical criticism of Bryce Young makes you a hater. So whenever you vocalize those things, that instantly turns you into a Bryce Young hater. Again, I don't give a shit. I'll be happy to be that. I will heap all the praises on Bryce when I feel like he is making plays that are worthy of having praise heaped on him. So, hey, man, but Tony, you already know this. We live in the receipt culture. Everybody wants to have receipts of all your bad takes and, all the things that you said before. But, dude, it all counts for likes and clicks. So I don't give a damn. How about you?
I got you at 7 so far. 7 mentions in that thread. Let me ask you this. Are you a Bryce Young hater?
Well, let Twitter tell you.
No,
And,
what do you
no, I'm not.
What do you think?
I'm not. So here's the deal. I'm not a hater. I am disappointed compared to what we were expecting this year. I feel like Bryce is a little behind the curve on a lot of things that we were told he would be ahead of the curve on. Granted, it is correct that he has a terrible team around him. And Tony, you know this. Not one time have we ever said that Bryce is in a good situation conducive to building up a rookie quarterback in the NFL. No one's ever said that. But there is a lot of plays that Bryce will leave on the football field. And now you're going to go into a situation where he's going to be under his 3rd play caller going into next season. And this is the type of turmoil that is ultimately has the potential to set back the development of your rookie quarterback a few years by continuing this never-ending carousel of play callers.
Yeah. And Cody, I want to back you up on this a little bit too, man, because I'm part of the Bryce Young hater club too, I guess, because I started this whole thing and everybody's
yeah, you did.
I'm totally off Twitter, so I don't even get any of this stuff anymore. But here's the thing: is like one argument I can make for everybody is like the argument everybody brings up, and it irritates the crap out of me. Is they're like, well, Peyton Manning and this player, and they bring up Hall of Fame players and great quarterbacks and say, well, this player started this way and they turned out like this, so have faith. But they don't bring up the 10 times amount of quarterbacks that got drafted that started this way that didn't turn out well.
Right.
They ignored that stat completely because there's 10 times the amount of quarterbacks that started out 1 in 16 or 1 in 15 that didn't work out. And nobody ever brings that up. So because I bring up that realistic point of this whole stat, I'm a hater. But I'm not. We're just realists.
You may be a realist, but I think the problem is that when people choose to be optimists, I think that's okay to have the idea of, Peyton Manning had the the idea that fair. It's not going to happen is if this turns out to be, here's the problem. It has to be a Peyton Manning type situation, right? Bryce. It has to, because otherwise this will go down as the biggest. Like, you can talk to all these other number 1 draft picks that were, but not a single one of them are going to have the type of maybe Trevor or Trey Lance, but I don't even think you can put that into the equation because of the amount of value of our number 1 overall pick right now. This will go down as the worst historical trade and draft pick to never work out. And that is, we talk about the Browns. The Browns were never in a situation like this, except for maybe getting rid, except for maybe trading for Deshaun Watson. Well, that's the only comparison you can make.
And to add on to that point, I agree that you have the right to be optimistic, and I'm not trying to deter anybody away from being optimistic, and that's fine. And you can have optimism about, well, this worked out and maybe this will for us. Great. What I'm saying is, don't argue with me that statistically this is going to happen, because you know what? I'm going to bet my money on the 90% over the 10%. To be truly honest with you,
you can vote on every player in the NFL to fail, and you would have a better chance of.
But also, let me even piggyback off of what Greg said. Right now, you are allowed to be in either camp. If you are somebody who is like more on CK's team, saying like, well, look, everything around him is shit. I mean, now we're going to talk about Adam Thielen potentially wanting to be out of here due to an interview they gave in the locker room. So again, no one is denying that. And if you believe that Bryce can be a good quarterback, no one's blaming you for that either. But at the same time, you also can't say to people like Greg or like myself who think that it's a tall order that Bryce is going to become the quarterback that we all wanted him to be. You also can't say that we're wrong either, because not only is there not a lot of evidence for Bryce, but there's not a lot of evidence that this Panthers organization can actually build in the correct direction and actually develop a player like Bryce. So even if Bryce can be a good NFL player, there's not necessarily a lot of reason to believe that this current Panthers team is going to be the team to do it. So right now, all of these opinions, especially after his first year in the NFL, they're all valid, and we're going to continue to have them for a long time to come.
But here's the other part to this. Like, you heard what I said in my statement. I said he has to be Peyton Manning, because if he's not, this is the worst situation ever.
Right.
And here we have a comment by TJ that's saying, damn, you're calling him Peyton Manning now? No, nobody said he's Peyton Manning.
Totally took you out of context.
You see how people do?
Like,
just
this is
your
what
words
is
as soon as
causing
they come out of your
everybody
mouth.
to stay in their corners. It's the dumbest
Well,
thought.
I think, or maybe that comment had to do with what Greg's saying. Is
No,
like,
no.
we got to go
CK's
all the
right.
way.
This is
He
what
said,
allows.
damn, CK.
This is what allows
100%.
conversation and like people to be able to actually flush out ideas to not happen. It is taking little things like that and be like, no, we didn't say that. Like CK
Right.
did not say that.
And
by
that's
any
why I'm
means.
known as a Bryce hater. Because
Yeah.
I'll vocalize meaningful criticisms of Bryce, and then that's the only shit that people pay attention to. And then now I'm a Bryce Young hater. That's why I'm giving up. I don't even give a shit.
I mean, it would be.
You're right.
You got to know you're leaning into it, dude.
Yeah, but dude, they
Okay.
fucking fraud me, and
and this is what
I'm not
happened
gonna
to
fight.
Greg in the beginning, and then he leaned into it more and more, and he leaned into it. I think that's happening with the defenders, and I hate those. You have to be either or. I'm just floored that there is a person in Carolina Panthers history, just based on their existence alone, that has nothing to do with like murdering people or genes, like that is more divisive than Cam Newton.
Yeah, allegations of any type of
Right. Like, I
assault,
mean, you got to
any
put
type
those,
of
you take those people
racism.
off the table, just their freaking existence, just by their presence in the room. I didn't think anybody could be in Carolina Panthers history more divisive than Cam Newton. And this is somebody who woke up every morning and sharpened his Twitter sword. You think that like I'm like the Monty of Cam.
Yeah, we both were. Do you remember they used to call us
love
Cam
Cam,
sexuals?
This
Because
little
all we would do
guy,
is defend Cam.
this little
God,
fella.
doesn't
And
that
then
seem like
I love
decades
this is
ago?
it's impossible to get through any discussion of Bryce Young without even inadvertently making a reference that somehow can be taken towards his height. Even when you're not trying, you said, "Oh, it's a tall order," and I was just like,
Damn.
"Of course."
It's
all
like-
all of
Pretty
my gripes about Bryce are very small.
Yeah, exactly.
The funny thing is it's almost like anytime my wife says something, I can turn it into something that is an innuendo for something else, and she gets so frustrated. And I think that's probably a similar situation here. Is everything that could possibly be said could also be turned onto a joke about his size.
Well, and can I also tell you something else that's happening now too? And again, I understand that Twitter is not real life, but you remember how Cam Newton detractors, they were like known as the Ford F-150 fans.
Yeah.
But now they're trying to do that with Bryce. That like if you're a Bryce Young hater, you might have a little undertone of racism there.
Oh,
And
shush.
dude, I know you just hate that it's fucking coming to that. And I don't even
Bro,
respond to that shit on
The
Twitter.
dumb
Like,
thing
I
about
wouldn't-
this, hold on. We have to address. You bought his jersey.
Yeah. Look,
Hold
I
on.
wouldn't give a fuck about the Panthers if it wasn't for Cam Newton, dude. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
he's talking about Bryce Young.
Bryce.
jersey.
I know,
Bryce,
but that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, even the assumption that, like, if you don't like Bryce, now you have to have some prejudice. To me, it's just a way of silencing people that are not yet in the case that Bryce Young is the future. And like I said, that's okay, man. I guarantee you that right now, there's a lot of Miami Dolphins fans that are huge fans of Tua Tagovailoa right now, but they might not have been a year or two ago.
Oh, they weren't.
100%. So
They-
I understand that. And my final thing, I know I'm long-winded. I want to have everyone quote tweeting me and bringing up old shit. That's fine, dude. Because ultimately that means that Bryce is working out. He's turning things around and things are starting to move in the right direction. And I promise you, that's all I want as a Panther fan. That's all.
Let's try to have this one last Bryce, not one last. We're going to be talking about Bryce Young. I cannot tell you this. I don't know how I feel about this. I just realized this I used to say this on this podcast over and over, and it was just 8 months ago that I last said it. We will be talking about Cam until we're not. We will be talking about needing a quarterback until we're not. I almost want to go back to talking about Cam and needing a quarterback than arguing all fucking day about Bryce Young. But I'll ask you guys this in a way that tries to push away the extreme sides of the Bryce Young debate.
After you say this, I want to highlight a comment go ahead.
As we, I think a lot of people, not only even the people that are modest about their interest in Bryce Young, even the CJ Stroud crowd recognized that he was a talent to be considered at drafting for the Carolina Panthers, right? So,
Bryce?
Yeah. I mean, every single person in the world believed at least that it was worth a good conversation and consideration, and then it happened. And there were a bunch of reasons we were told, or a lot of people believed that Bryce Young was going to be successful early on or will be successful. What have you seen so far in the 10 games that Bryce Young has played that have pushed you in a direction of either way on that? Have you seen anything? Because I don't want to know. I don't know if it's truly fair to say it's impossible to have a perspective on Bryce Young because of the circumstances only. Like, while I think you have to recognize those circumstances are greatly the reason for a lot of the things that have happened, it's not like you can't have any idea of him. So what has happened throughout this season that I think, my question is to the people that love Bryce Young and think he's going to be awesome no matter what have they seen that they believe suggests that? And then on the other hand, the people who don't think he's going to work out, what have they seen? Because I think there's got to be some sort of evidence for both cases, or else we're just making shit up.
So I can even probably find it. There is a chart that's floating around that literally shows, according to this data set, that Bryce is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL when throwing to wide open receivers. Well, on that same chart, it shows the number of times that our receivers get open, and it's not very much. So essentially, Bryce is at the top left of this chart.
So accuracy. So you have seen the accuracy from this quarterback that was advertised.
And then I even put it in the show today. Todd Bowles spoke very glowingly of Bryce Young and said, Bryce has been sacked something around the order of 40-something times, but it should have been 60-something times, but he's just been able to make people miss. And basically, a lot of the things that we were talking about before the draft, that he has a good pocket presence and that he's able to move. And again, I know it's old news, but you have to go back to the situation around him. Literally every game that we see, the commentators that are calling the game are literally showing on replay the amount of separation that our receivers are getting every game. And it's not a surprise that it's not a lot, too. So a lot of it is the situation and how other quarterbacks have struggled in the past, and they just have been able to turn it around, given better coaching and better offensive line in front of them. I feel like the detractors, you'll hear a few things. One, he lacks that zip of the football when throwing the ball downfield. Right now, you have not seen the wild throws, even that like a Will Levis has been able to make, like pushing the ball downfield, fitting it into a tight window. there's a lot of that's kind of absent on film. Like me and the Bat Daddy have pointed out in the film room before, I feel like there's a lot of times when Bryce is just missing open wide receivers. Maybe because he's like not going through his progressions enough. He has this tendency to kind of stare down the first read that he has. And I wonder if it's on situation, if the coaches are just telling him, hey, get the ball out of your hand fast, live the
And
play.
this is the guy it's supposed to go to.
Right,
That's a very good.
Right. So like,
you know.
so maybe it's Bryce playing within the confines of the offense that he's being asked to run.
Right.
There's a lot of questions, but and then you've made it a point yourself, Tony, is that when things start to break down in front of him, that's when the size questions start to rear their head again, because you don't know if he's able to sit in front of him. You don't know if that pocket starts to get a little bit muddy, if he does have a hard time seeing what's around him to be able to get rid of the football. Yeah. And as of right now, a lot of those criticisms, they haven't been able to be answered.
Yeah, and like we said, he hasn't been in a situation to allow him to be like the thing that's going to irritate every Panthers fan is we're not going to have answers to this, and potentially for 2-3 years if we can't get a team together by next year either. And by that point, it's going to be too late for him. But here's the thing that I find funny about this: Todd Bowles' comment and Winfield. How is it that it feels like our division rivals are having to defend him? It's almost like the way I look at it is people feel sorry for Bryce Young.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he looks like a
right.
Little,
like
little
it reminds you of like
it's like a little man.
It reminds you of like somebody who's like, man, this kid, you know, it's like this feel good story that's supposed to be really good, and all of a sudden it turns out to be a really not so good story, and you're trying to make it the best thing you possibly can because you can't be beaten up on the little guy over here. However,
Don't you think that is also just a veteran coach or somebody who's been in the league that has enough respect to always, highlight the positive in their opponent, not to give them any.
I'm gonna go for CK.
Give them no. You don't want any bulletin board material, and you also have been in those positions.
This stuff took place after the game. I'm pretty sure is a lot of the stuff that they were talking about.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't think it's necessarily that. Now that obviously we still have to play them again, so yeah, bulletin board material still isn't a part of this. But it's not just them; it is everybody. Like when you hear the commentators, like they do everything they can to, put Bryce Young into this. Like all this other stuff. They're going out of their way to highlight all the reasons why Bryce Young isn't being successful, and as most Bryce fans are. And so I think that's starting to become a little bit too prominent to where it's like, okay, something weird is happening here. I don't know if it's because they're hoping that it's like one of these things that he comes back from next year and he turns into a comeback player of the year, and they have this stuff that they can call back on. See, I told you it wasn't Bryce Young and all this stuff, but
or do you think it's just a recognition of a total fucking shit situation?
I mean, I think that there's that, but I also think that it's almost sympathy.
I have a theory on it. Look, y'all, tinfoil hat time. You guys know I think the NFL has a narrative. I think Bryce Young was going to be part of the NFL's narrative this year, and it didn't work out. So they've been told to make it seem like,
so
just saying. But listen, I'll agree with y'all. I think the commentators have been giving a lot of slack over the last week, but last week they didn't. Last week I heard the commentators a number of times talk about Bryce Young not looking down the field and seeing open receivers. Bryce Young not being tall enough to do this. Bryce Young not getting late. We can talk about our offensive line, how many sacks he's taken. He's in line to take less sacks than our record for a year as a Carolina Panthers.
No way.
So it's not. Yes, he is. Go back and look.
He's
I don't know the number.
43.
I think it's no.
He's
in line to take less sacks than our worst year of taking sacks.
What's our worst year of taking sacks?
Then it must have been.
I can't remember the numbers. I wish I would have looked
one year,
I think. But I heard that I heard that on Around the NFL the other day. So I don't know if that's an NFL podcast. I don't know. I didn't check the validity of that, so I assume that's correct from the NFL. But look, man, Bryce Young has not shown me what I need to see to believe that he's going to succeed in Carolina. Not saying he's not going to succeed in the NFL. Not saying he's a terrible quarterback. but he's just not showing me what he wanted. Last week, he had a few good passes. He did. He had some really nice passes. But he threw for like 178 yards, no touchdowns. He drove the team down to the goal line 2 times and didn't score. You've got to finish to that point, and maybe
Greg, also to
right now,
piggyback off your point, the turnovers.
Yes,
the literal back
eyeballs
turnovers.
Every receiver from for every interception he throws. Watch it. He steps back. He's looking at one receiver the whole time.
This is
the
true.
Entire time, and he throws to that guy. Go back and watch the last interception of the game this week where he lost it. Sanders,
I feel like that
Miles
is like
Sanders
a play.
was open in the flat for a first down. Open in the flat,
but he wasn't. He was looking straight
down.
to the right.
It's
Adam
not
Thielen
just
the whole
singling
time.
them out anymore. Like we've done the film room enough times that there's multiple examples of it. And again, and Tony, like I said earlier, I'm not even necessarily blaming it all on him. I've even said that that he's even regressed from his Alabama traits.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching his film, he was much more cognizant of what was happening around him at Alabama, which maybe that does put some onus on the coaching staff and what they're asking him to do. But it's undeniable. Like, especially since the Panthers have that stripe right down the middle of their helmets, whenever they're in the quarterback view, you can always see what direction the quarterback is looking at because they're literally pointing in the direction that they're looking. Bryce does not come off of his first read the majority of the time, and that's a problem. And again, I don't know if that's on coaching or the pure lack of protection, but it's a problem, and it continues to happen.
I have the stat for the sacks. So the most sacks in a season was Steve Berline with 62. That's an average of 3 points.
We're passing that
3.583, and Bryce is on per game. By the way, Bryce is on average at 3.91, and because he's got 43 with 11 games. Yeah, with 11 games. No, I'm saying right now he's at 3.91 per game on average. I didn't want to do because he's already. Well, I guess this would be the perfect year to compare the two because by the end of the year, Bryce will have played only 16 games because he missed that one game.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That is a good point. Yeah.
I think this
it's gonna be close.
I don't know. I don't like looking at for every picture that anybody shows me of Bryce not looking at an open receiver. There's another 10 or pictures of him having a bunch of covered receivers. There's a lot of problems on this team. There's a lot of reasons. Is that the guys just can't get open fast enough. And as long as this offensive line just lets everybody by.
That's a big.
So I don't like to just look at the anecdotal plays. I think I can look at the overall play and get a sense of what I'm kind of feeling about it. I don't know if I've seen much from Bryce that has moved the needle on how I thought of him coming into the league in a positive way. I don't know if I've backtracked on the way I see him necessarily. I definitely thought it was going to go a lot easier than it was. I think, though, that I have seen some cool things out of him. One is his ability to stay alive right now. That's been pretty cool. I think he can make quick decisions. I think he truly does understand the football game a lot. So I think there's going to be a lot to build off of if and when he gets to a moment where the game can kind of slow down for him.
Right.
I think the real problem with all of this is that we thought there wasn't going to be a transition period for Bryce Young. And the idea of there not being a transition period was rose-colored glasses at best in that moment. And then you got to factor in that would be even with a good team. That transition would still take some stuff. So look, we'll be watching Bryce. We're going to kind of see how Bryce continues. I think for me is that we just have to monitor if that type of player, if you're going to be able to put the pieces around him to keep him upright and give him the weapons he needs to succeed in this NFL fast enough for us to get to see it. But let's move on.
Well, okay, before we do, I wanted to read 2 super chats and I wanted to pull up a comment that I think actually is very fair. And I think it's something that maybe we all should and could hear. Justin Long says, for all the podcasts out there, please stop assuming most of the fan base are defending Bryce. You're talking about a few fanatics that were wrong and thinks their own opinion matters. Most fans are objective. And that's a great point, too. And I try and tell myself this, too, as somebody who is admittedly on Twitter way more than I should be. Like, the dialogue happening on Twitter isn't necessarily real life. It's just the most diehard connected fans that follow Twitter and go back and forth. And even when it comes to podcasting, too, the loudest voices are the ones that take up the most air. So they're the ones that get the responses. So, yeah, I think for the most part, people are subjective. And even for the people that are quote unquote haters, they're also subjective as well. It's not like they're trying to hate on them or they're trying. They're not trying to pick on them, but they're wanting to call attention to what they think could be some better play. I think that's a great point. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Read these off, and then I got a new question for you guys.
Yeah, Muscles Marinara or Paisans is Tommy DeVito in the same situation as Bryce Young and won both his starts and threw 3 touchdowns in their game. Bryce Young hasn't done that. By the way, don't guess who Muscles' second team is this year, huh? Them New York Giants. And then the final one, Jerry with the 499 says there's a lot of quarterbacks that start off good and end up a bust. So give Bryce a chance. Appreciate you, Jerry.
Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for the support. Smash the thumbs up button. Call into the show at 252-228-5098. I want to go and talk about something I read today or yesterday morning from Peter King. And this is, what was the name? This is from his story. It's Peter King's Football Morning in America. And he was talking about what was going on with the Carolina Panthers. And now, look, I feel like every time the fucking Peter King is involved with the Carolina Panthers, bad. It's like, get our name out.
Dude, forget Peter King. Any inside information coming from the Carolina Panthers feels bad.
This is the guy that blew up the cam and the I want to be an icon comment in the beginning. So Peter King comes around. Now, this is some things, and what I think is I wanted to highlight Peter King's comments in this story about the Carolina Panthers and then maybe talk about some of the parallels that we're hearing from other analysts that really kind of, while we're sitting here on the ground trying to figure out what's going on, these guys are looking at it from the outside, and they see real dysfunction, right? And to the point of where now a lot of people in the football world are concerned, or at least I feel like the sentiment is growing that this is still heading in the bad direction rather than something that's touched the bottom. Like we could, in this case, face years of losing ahead. And then I have one other question I think we'll start with, and that's about sentiments on Frank Reich. But here, this is what Peter King says. He said, there's one thing is told to me, or this is what he wrote. There's one other thing as told to me by one NFL offensive coach with a long history in the league. One thing, this is quote, one thing these owners who fire people quickly don't understand what it takes to build a team, particularly a team with a rookie quarterback. The quarterback comes in his first year after the draft, and it's a short off season. And if he's going to start right away, it's an accelerated process. So you go through through that first year, and you're looking forward to correcting all of his mistakes and continue to build him up in the full off season, a year or two. So you hire this head coach who I'm pretty sure is hands-on and his quarterback's coach in the middle of the first year, or you fire his head coach who I'm sure was pretty hands-on and his quarterback coach in the middle of his first year. And he works with other people for the rest of the year. And then everybody gets fired. And then there's a third group that comes in to coach the young quarterback. I mean, maybe they'll keep the coaches who stayed after Reich, but I doubt it. So the young quarterback getting coached by 3 different sets of people in his first 12 months as your franchise quarterback, how is that healthy? This is what one NFL offensive coach commented to Peter King, and Peter King wrote to that question, how is it healthy? He wrote, it isn't. It's a lunacy. Now, I want to start with this, guys, as we'll continue to break down some of the things that he said. I find it kind of strange that there is such a sympathetic undertone to maybe the Frank Reich regime throughout the football world. From the football world, a Tepper moved rashly in this case. And I understand the lack of continuity here. But guys, do we really think at this point, regardless of how many quarterback coaches get their hands on Bryce Young in this first year, does anybody in here believe that it was unwise to give Frank Reich less than 1 year with this quarterback? Because I feel like that's what the football world continues to sort of intimate in a soft way, is not necessarily a defense for Frank Reich, but there is this kind of focal that has turned to David Tepper, like brash, rash David Tepper can't hold his pants on. You got to fire everybody. Fire. And yes, that has happened, but that would also suggest that this wasn't the correct decision.
Right. I mean, here, listen, I don't think that. I would almost say that it made more sense to let Frank ride it out to the end of the year. However, I understand the desire to want to pull the cord immediately. David Tepper, to me, people say he's not patient. I don't know that that's necessarily true. You know, he gave Marty Herney more time than he deserved, right? He gave Matt Rule more time than he deserved. I think that he seems to be patient. I think he's growing impatient. And I think that could be the argument here, is that he's becoming impatient due to the circumstances surrounding this. But I really don't know that keeping Frank Reich would have been the better answer for Bryce Young, because clearly Frank was doing things that weren't conducive for a positive environment for a rookie quarterback. I think him staying there would have been worse.
That's my question: is would keeping Frank Reich and this guy for the or that staff through this challenge right here,
right
through the face of this despair of the fan base and all of this, and to come out on the other side, on the side of patience, time, process, it's going to work its way out. Is there a world where that actually does harm to Bryce Young too?
Well, I mean, I think that it's definitely worth mentioning. I mean, that's what we've said before. I mean, if you look at Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold and other rookie quarterbacks that have had a carousel of coaches and play callers, it's never good for the development of a young quarterback who clearly still needs a lot of developing. And listen, I don't think that Frank Reich was doing himself any favors, especially when you have moments where it's like they had to call a timeout because Adam Thielen wasn't in the game, and the play that was called was literally only designed for Adam Thielen. Like, weird shit like that didn't do Frank Reich any favors, no. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, does anyone feel like they really got to see the vision of what Frank Reich was trying to build here in Carolina offensively? No, but hell no. And how was he supposed to? This is why I've been trying to point the attention at Fitterer forever, because what ultimately ended up happening is that Frank Reich, Josh McCown, Deuce Staley, and a bunch of others, they got punished for David Tepper and and Scott Fitterer delivering them an inept 53-man roster that didn't have enough talent on the offensive line, that definitely didn't have enough talent at the wide receiver position. And you're trying to take a team that was proven to be successful as a run-first kind of football team. You wanted to turn them into a passing attack, which, by the way, is what David Tepper wanted. This was supposed to be the era where the Carolina Panthers were going to move to being an offensive-minded football team that was willing to pass the ball down the field, looking more like a modern NFL team that has success. So you knew that you were going to be transitioning to this new time in your team's history and offense. There was just not enough time for Frank Reich to do any of the things that he wanted to do. So, no, I don't necessarily think that it would have gotten drastically better next year, but I also don't think that it's fair to heap all of this on Frank Reich and saying that it's his problem that all of this ended up being as bad as it was.
Correct.
Because if there wasn't enough talent, then that's on the people that have been filling up this roster for the past 3 years in a row.
I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that the people that came here came because of Frank Reich. You know, like
not all of them, not all of them. A few.
A few. When you see the guys like Houston, you have guys like Thielen, you have guys like Miles Sanders. A lot of these guys.
Thielen, I would say, has been really productive, but so we'll say 3.
The Thielen one is again, that's something that I'm not entirely sure is going to be one that we're going to look back at as being a good decision for us to sign him with the contract that he got.
Okay.
But nonetheless,
what CK is saying is that Reich's fingerprints are more on this roster than just him. Like, hey, this is this is what I got to work with.
I don't think it is as much as you think it is, though. Like honestly, like you just named 3 players, but like who else came here because of Frank Reich that you can name that hasn't worked out? Because you can't really name Thielen. Thielen worked out. Like we can say he came because of Frank Reich, whatever.
Say that he came here because of Reich.
Beyond that, you have a 53-man roster. You just named 3 players. I think even if you named 7 or 8 more players, you could still say this franchise or this team was not what Frank Reich built.
Well, my point being is that I think that Frank Reich has the fingerprints on this roster as a whole. And the reality is, no matter which way you look at it, this offense was his offense. And this offense was god-awful. We've never seen an offense this bad in the history of the Carolina Panthers. And we went through a really bad situation back in 2010. Right?
I'll say
and I want to say that
sorry, go ahead.
But that's my point with CK, or what I think CK is getting onto the trail of that I am interested in is regardless of like when you hear all the NFL people out there saying this is crazy, it's lunacy to fire a bunch of, like, and then they throw all the soccer coaches in there and things like this. How could you in good faith walk into next season with this coaching staff?
No.
Is there a world where you could just shrug off how bad this season was and you'd say, you know what? Dan Campbell started out 1-10 too, or whatever. What's the list of all the coaches? And then they'll be like,
I even want to
Chuck Noll, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
like, how could you think it was irrational for David? And I think it was bad enough to where I don't know how I could even pitch to myself if I'm David Tepper or anybody saying, good idea. Let's just run this shit back.
Yeah. Well, here's and Greg, I want to at least bring this up real quick and then you can respond to that. But I think it leads more into my point of, I think this shows that David Tepper wasn't sold on Frank Reich to begin with.
Maybe
right.
Not. Yeah. Maybe not.
No, I think that's a great point.
I agree. Well, let me ask though, and like I said, I'm not a Frank Reich like apologist because I didn't want Frank Reich, and I don't think that he was the right guy for Carolina in the long term. But I still feel like we gave him a short leash. Like every excuse we give,
right?
And I hate to make this comparison. Bryce Young,
I've been.
Frank Reich has the exact same excuse.
Yeah.
New team, new
He's
ownership.
Not a rookie.
Bryce did okay. That's the one thing. He's not a rookie. Okay, that's the one thing is he's not a rookie. Beyond that,
he also can see over the players on the line.
Every excuse we give Bryce Young, not having the talent, new coaching, new scheme, new city. Frank Reich didn't choose Bryce Young. Bryce Young didn't choose Carolina. Every excuse we give Bryce Young, with
have
the
to give him more than
being
a
rookie, Frank Reich can use too. Yet for some reason, we pound Frank Reich like this was completely his fault, and it wasn't. Now, I don't think Frank Reich was the coach. Like I said, I'm not defending him like that. But what I'm saying is I think we give Frank Reich too short of a leash based on what he was given as well. He was given a bad situation with a bad owner and a bad GM. They drafted a quarterback that wasn't the right quarterback for this team on a team with no talent the GM didn't give him. He had a lot of bad stuff going for him too.
And
every time Frank Reich coached, we scored more points than anybody else this year, with the exception of the last game. So I mean, come on, like seriously, we got the best production out of Frank Reich than we had of anybody else on this team.
Andy
And
Dalton
none of
threw
that
for
makes
almost
me want to keep
400
Frank Reich
yards.
at
I
all.
agree, but it doesn't make me want to fire him either because it's not his fault, man. You cannot say it's everybody. Like you can't say it's solely
I
his
was
fault.
not feeling it, bro.
He was the
I mean,
scapegoat.
no,
is what it is. He's the
I
scapegoat.
agree with Greg. I mean, listen, both of these things
Dude.
can be true. He was obviously not the coach for us, and we're moving on. We're going to be talking about who the next coach that we want is. But all of those things are true. Literally everything that he said was true. It might not be Frank Reich's first year in the NFL, but if it's true that you need more than 1 year to see what a team is going to become, by the way, the Lions are one of the better teams right now, and their first season, they won like 1 or 2 games. And those wins didn't come until the very end of the season.
With
So
a rookie,
if you're going to
with
make all these excuses and say, well, well then Bryce, he needs that time. He needs a better O-line. He needs a better this, a better that. You have to give that same leeway to Frank Reich.
So do you think
Not
it was a
when you're
mistake to
offered-
move on from Frank Reich?
here's
Do you
Right
think
now
it's a
was.
mistake to move on from Frank Reich?
again,
Middle of the
but
season
Tony, I don't like it that it's either or. That it's either we shouldn't have moved on from him, or he was ramrod, and we didn't.
Oh,
give a
I agree.
chance.
I don't need it to be
Yeah,
either
like-
or, but I don't know if I could look at myself in the mirror and say I feel good. I want Frank Reich to come back next year.
right. And
I couldn't say that to myself.
here's the thing I think is important, right? It's not just a matter of the 1 year that we had. Frank only getting 1 year. This year was a disappointment. It's that all the things that we were good at last year, we got worse at with him at the helm, like
Okay. That's a fair
significantly
argument,
worse.
yeah.
And when you look at what the culture was of the Colts at the end of his tenure with the Colts culture was garbage. They were playing poker in the back instead of actually doing anything that was like they were not bought into Frank Reich at all. And so if you're David Tepper and you see 90% of the roster was intact this year, right, from our defense to our offense, outside of a quarterback and a running back, maybe a wide receiver and DJ Moore, but for the most part, everything was intact. Our entire O-line was exactly the same for the most part for the entire season, for the majority of the season. And it's every part that was good last year took a step back. On top of that, Frank Reich told us we don't want to be a power run team, but then goes on to talk about how our offensive line is built to be a power run team, but we're not going to be that.
Look, like I said, I'm not defending Frank Reich like he's some great coach. I think he got a raw deal. But here's the thing. You left a few things out there. We don't have the exact same thing. First of all, we've changed schemes on defense.
Right.
We have a new defensive coordinator. Our defense is totally different. And we lost a few key players. So, our defense is totally different. Our offense, we had CMC half the year last year. We had DJ Moore the whole year last year. So, our offense has changed quite a bit, too. We have Austin Corbett, who's been injured most of the year.
We've had 9, 8, 7 different guards.
Right, but what I'm saying is
it's
not been a you take what we took last year and we have the exact same thing this year and we're not getting the same production.
It's very similar
in
a couple of ways. And their similarities are we traded away CMC and we got better.
We had a better run game. You're right. We did have a better run game.
We got better without CMC. And when you look at the offensive line, we had Austin Corbett come back for a few games, and when he came back, this offensive line was still garbage.
Agreed.
Yeah,
the whole line sucks. I agree with you that. But what I'm saying is, our offensive line wasn't great last year.
It was
I
agree.
I agree with Greg. I agree with Greg. It was better. It was better, but
it was
anyway.
top 15.
I don't want to get over.
We're bottom 2.
I want to fall too much into the rabbit hole on that. I just wanted to think about this. To me, I feel like Frank Reich and the larger NFL. The larger NFL community has shifted the conversation to the Carolina Panthers as David Tepper driving this. Yeah, is that David Tepper's the villain, that Frank Reich and these guys kind of just are just another, fodder in the way of his cannon fire or whatever it may be. And I just find that in some ways to be a little interesting, right? Or at least noteworthy that some of the narrative out there isn't a little stronger with this. Bryce Young, this is how I think you could also shape it. Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, most prepared to enter the NFL and succeed from day one, has left more questions on the field than answers. And Frank Reich, the guy who was meant the longtime NFL quarterback's coach, offensive mind head coach, and his super squad of seasoned coaches were meant to come in here and usher along this young quarterback as fast as possible. But usher along has turned into, in some ways, regression in even what you thought Bryce Young could be. I think you could shape the narrative a little bit towards, hey, Frank Reich is part of the reason that we're not fucking talking more glowingly about Bryce Young, whether that's true or not, whether I'm ready to push that. I just think from a national standpoint, David Tepper has gotten into the crosshairs of not only Panther fans, but now you have it like this. This is, let's go back to Peter King's story. We'll skip the slide, the second, go to the final slide of that story. He says, I feel for, this is Peter King, I feel for the fans of Carolina, he writes. The Panthers will have to either franchise or overpay their best player, edge rusher Brian Burns, free agent in March, to stay on this sinking ship. After dealing with McCaffrey and DJ Moore in the last 14 months, they've got massive offensive hole, and their only proven reliable receiver, Adam Thielen, will be 34 next opening day. The way to not fix things is with impatience, which is Tepper's best trait. The Panthers, he continues, are miles from hopelessness, and the captain of the ship leads the league in panic. He's the Steinbrenner without winning. Now the question is there anyone in his life or in the Panthers organization who can keep David Tepper from driving the franchise off a cliff? Those are pretty fucking harsh words about our owner.
Yeah.
And like, I'm
so
used
true.
to reading, but now when you just leave, that is the story of the Carolina Panthers around the country.
Yeah, like they're writing about us like we're cancer patients.
We're the Browns, dude.
Woe our Panthers fans. But look, like, let's be real, that's how a lot of us feel. Like, Greg came on the podcast saying how dejected he's been. I mean, listen to the cat calls, which we're going to do here in a little bit. Everybody's talking about, bro, if it wasn't for C3, I don't even know how much I would even be paying attention to this football team right now. Like, the level of dejection is just, it's at an all-time high for Carolina Panther fans. And the only ones that are going to make it through this time, they're the do or dies, man. The guys that will just never give up on their keep pounding Panthers no matter what happens. And
they're beating the life out of us, right? They're beating our spirit. They're killing our spirits. And I have a friend, Clip Brock, who's I go on Pirate Radio with, and he's a longtime Redskins / Commanders fan. And he's dejected about his football team. He loves the NFL. He loves the Commanders, and he hates the Commanders and hates the NFL. And to him, it's just like anytime something for his team could, in theory, possibly go right, he doesn't believe it can. So it's like favored on the road. Whatever.
That's a great litmus test right there. With him saying that, I want to ask y'all. When we had the ball with a chance to drive down the field and score, did y'all feel at any chance, by any means, we were going to win that game?
No.
I didn't either. I had no faith we were going to win that game.
Tie.
No, we're trying to get down there and get. Well, I think we had to get a touchdown. I think they went up, or were they up only about 3?
I think it was 21-19, I think, or 21-18.
Listen, I think it would be easy for me to say yes because the drive before they were very methodical and were able to drive down, and it looked really beautiful, and it was an amazing drive. Right before that, Bryce Young did a little pirouette into his for a 2-point conversion.
Cool.
Like, you're like, oh my god, his confidence is up there. And then the play after is the Mike Evans, and I'm like, oh, we're fucked. Like, I mean, can't.
I think the Mike Evans touchdown is what we expect.
Yeah.
It's just
Shortest
like
lead
it's
ever.
no matter what happened. And I didn't feel like that 3 years ago.
Right.
And I mean, I guess
right.
those were the moments that were starting to move me in that direction. Cody, what did I say the first time I ever came to your house?
That if Cam Newton's on the field for the Panthers, I feel like we have a chance.
Yeah. And right now, it's just like, gosh, it's tough with thinking we have a chance, something good. Let's talk about that old ass Adam Thielen.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Wow, and this kind of made some waves.
It's a little juicy.
Yeah, this is
Do you got the audio clip? You want me to pull up?
Yeah,
video?
no, man, hey, come on, man, who you talking about right here? But no, dude, listen, Adam Thielen, he was one of the more vocal believers in what Frank Reich was building here in Carolina. He even went on the Pat McAfee show and said that he could see how this team could be a Super Bowl contender, right? Obviously, things did not go as planned, but this is Adam Thielen basically kind of talking about his future here in Carolina and what that might look like.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's tough. Plans have changed.
Fucking ping pong table, dude.
And like you said, when I signed here, envisioned this to be a lot different, but that's just part of life. Sometimes, most of the time, the way that you want things to go usually doesn't happen. So you just kind of keep working, keep controlling you can control. And then obviously you assess things when you can and you have time to, and then you make the best decision for the team, for yourself, and you move forward.
A sinking ship is what it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Sinking ship. He sees it, man. He's reading the writing on the wall.
He said the plans have changed.
I don't know that. I don't think that
if we ran it back, I wonder if he just thought that the plans with the Panthers have changed because they're no longer.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Bringing
I don't think
Frank Reich in the future.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Frank Reich was a big part of why he decided to come here. He believed in the vision of what Frank Reich was building. And listen, we call into question his age a lot. He's 33 years old, and listen, when you're past your 30s. You want to go to a contending football team. Yeah. You don't want to spend.
He wanted to before he came here. That was a big thing.
Yeah, he wanted to
out
go
of his better interest.
That's what any 30-plus-year-old wide receiver wants to do in the twilight of his career. He wants to go somewhere where he's going to be able to contend for whatever division he's in. And he thought that was going to be the Panthers, and it's not it. And also, if you're Adam Thielen, like you have firsthand knowledge of what type of talent is and isn't on that team. He knows that he's the best wide receiver in that room,
right?
And he probably recognizes that as a problem. So, if he and his wife decided, hey, look, if I have a year or two left to play, I'm not sure I want to do it with the Carolina Panther team that might not be figuring this out anytime soon. How could you blame him?
Well, interesting. Yeah, and I don't know if it would be in the Panthers' interest to keep him throughout that type of career if he wasn't getting better, if we weren't getting better. That's a great question. Unfortunately, this is how the Panthers do get stuck, is that if we trade him or release him, we'll just get sunk with some guaranteed money. I told you Adam Thielen looked slow when we were watching those damn whatever show we watched at the beginning that the Panthers put out about their
the Camp Confidential.
And he was like, and he was, I was like, damn, he is putting everything out there to run across.
Remember, he put some Instagram clips out, like after he signed with the team, and we were all like, homie looking kind of slow.
I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job in putting him into the slot and allowing his route running to be what gets him open, not as just his standard speed.
Sure, and that's what was going to need to be done. You just hope he's not impeding some other player's development later on because he's just the most experienced and really reliable, which, I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous saying. The question, though, is I think that shows you, though, that this isn't this is going to have to require another big overhaul, right?
Yeah.
I think Adam Thielen is recognizing this was, we all kind of got bamboozled into optimism here,
Yeah.
but this thing is looking no bueno.
No.
I mean, the best case scenario, I mean, if you think about this, what is the most supreme ideal scenario for the Carolina Panthers is to get a coach that comes in, that likes working with Bryce, that believes in Bryce, and that can get him
It's not
in
a matter of liking. You got to be able to recognize what he can do and maximize that. You can like him all you want to.
Well, they have to believe in him.
Yeah.
And if they don't believe in him, they're not going to give him what I think the best case scenario is a guy in here that really believes that Bryce Young can be what many people said he was going to be, that believes in him as being in a bad situation, and that what you just say is this entire year is what year one was supposed to be, and that is just getting Bryce looking better from week to week.
Yeah.
I think that's the best case scenario you can hope for next year.
And I mean, somebody just like Mike McDaniels for the Miami Dolphins, who before Tua had really showed us anything, he was talking about how he wanted to coach Tua and how he felt Tua would be the guy for the job. I mean, you're going to have, and by the way, that's why my number one choice for the next head coach is still Bobby Slowick. I like the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. That whole Houston Texans outlet wanted to draft Bryce Young. He comes from that Kyle Shanahan tree that is also used to shorter quarterbacks with not quite the arm talent, yet they've always been successful. In my opinion, that's the guy for the job. I know Ben Johnson is the hot name. Mr. Strats with the $2 says, y'all sleeping on inspiration from Tabor? I'm sorry, Strats, but I'm fast asleep, brother.
He did not look like a head coach.
Brother, I am.
No.
Bro, not only am I sleeping, I've already taken my melatonin. I've already taken like 5 drops. Bro, I'm in bed.
Just
I'm
like a bunch of CBD gummies.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I got the blanket pulled up over me. I got the heating pad around my feet. Bro, I am passed out, dude. And listen, Tabor's a great guy. I think he's a good special teams coach. But I'm going to be honest. Some of these last games, including the Titans, they've been very winnable for us. That Tampa Bay game was winnable for us, and we still weren't able to do it. So, in my opinion, if we're not able to get some of these easier games out the way and get some W's, then I'm sorry, brother. I just don't have a lot of hope for it.
Buddy, if we haven't done it yet, it's really hard to believe it's going to happen in the future unless it just falls into your lap. That's the sad part about what was going on with Reich is that telling you, Ron Rivera, we used to get so mad at some of the things he said, missed opportunities, right? You get fucking go crazy over that. The other one is he would always say that games come down to 2 or 3 plays.
They do, usually.
And it's really the case. You know what I'm saying? It's one sack you didn't need to take, one turnover, one play you could have made. The Panthers, I don't feel like have been getting boat raced all season in one way. And that's why I think, they have gotten handled. They haven't looked good, but it's like there have been games that were reasonable, that they really just decided to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in so many ways. That's why I was so big on those first 2 games in the division for the very beginning of the season, helping set a tone and a confidence for this team. And then they lost the confidence. They got injured, they got hurt, they got insulted, and they fell into a tailspin. They couldn't pull out of the stall. And so you're right. Greg, did you have something to say? And then Cody, go on with whatever we got next.
Yeah, I want to bring up this actually that dovetails perfectly to this right here. I put up a poll in the chat of how long will it take Carolina to turn the ship around. 9% says 1 year, 19% says 2 years. 41% says 3 and 30% says 4. So most people look at 3 to 4 years. And the second thing I want to say about the chat is seriously, y'all, we got how many people we got in the chat? Over 150, 160 right now. We have like 58, 62 thumbs up. Seriously, it's free.
Hit that thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah.
And by the way, shout out to the boy Strats. He says, bet me We winning this weekend. He says he wants.
Nice.
He says he wants.
I
our
almost
lunch.
took that. Yeah.
Hey,
I was like,
how-
ooh,
how-
I
how
picked
about-
this
no,
last weekend because the stupid bump you're supposed to get with people like
Hey, who are we
Tabor.
playing? Who are we playing?
I
New
almost
Orleans?
took that, but the last few bets I've made haven't been paid out. And Strats, I'm not saying anything about you, but I just don't want to make any bets anybody online anymore because
All right, how about this, Strats?
So
How about this, Strats? I'll go in on some action with you. Let's go $5.
Are they Saint? Is it Saint?
I'll cash app you $5 if the Panthers get a W.
Is
there
it the
you go.
Saints? Who we got?
I believe it's the
I don't
Saints.
know. Yeah.
Interested.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
we
it
got
is.
a deal. The winner cash
Olave for 9 million yards.
I don't know. Jameis Winston will probably be the quarterback.
I love Jameis.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Good. We'll probably play.
Dude,
throw
I
a few
love
throws
Taysom
at
Hill.
least.
I don't care who.
I do
does
too.
it. I think that does
Dude, I picked him on fantasy, and he's great.
Dude, Taysom
I can play him
Hill's
at quarterback. I can play him wide receiver. I can play him running back. Or I can play him at tight end.
They let you
He's
play him
great.
in whatever position.
fucking man.
If-
dude.
Let
if
him play
he's just-
at whatever position I want to. Yeah, it's
If
great.
he's solely quarterback, he's garbage. But with where he can do 5 different things, the dude is a lock in fantasy.
I just put him in as tight end because they get the best. They get the best points for reception. So just
Yeah.
put him in tight end. He still gets all the other stats. So
All right, so Strats just wants me to state publicly that he knows what he's talking about. If he
Okay.
Strats does know what he's talking about, but I still.
All right. What's next?
Smart
Let's
guy.
keep
Yeah,
going. Maybe take some calls. We
Yeah.
got a lot of show to get through.
Yeah, so yeah. Look, after this one, we'll do nothing but phone calls. I feel like this was relevant, so I included it. This is from Diana Rossini. This is talking about everything going on with the Panther situation. There's one thing that money can't buy. It's peace of mind. With rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud tearing up the NFL and number 1 overall pick Bryce Young struggling, there's no peace in Carolina. Panthers owner David Tepper has been desperate to see improvement on offense and hasn't seen it, not even once. Open quote here. Stroud early success 100% played into Tepper's decision to fire head coach Frank Reich. We felt the pressure and frustrations a Panthers source shared over the phone this week. It's hard to step in and carry the weight of a franchise. Bryce has done it harder than most here. Despite the team trading up to draft Young number 1 in April, a team source said that by week 5, multiple coaches wanted to bench the rookie quarterback for veteran quarterback Andy Dalton. Some believed that the team needed change and that Young required more coaching. The team decided this wasn't about trying to get wins in the short term, but to stay on task with teaching and developing Young in the offense. From all my conversations this past week, the Panthers still believe Bryce Young can be an incredible quarterback. Another team source texted, he needs better protection and weapons. He has it. We do not protect the middle of the pocket. He needs it most in this area because he's 5'10". So, news from Diana that there were a lot of people who in the organization that wanted to bench Bryce at a point in time. In my opinion, that was probably Frank Reich and Josh McCown, or else,
Deuce.
Deuce. So I mean, I don't know what do y'all make of this one. This is from Diana Rossini.
I don't know. It's kind of like what was going on in week 5. I feel like Bryce had just gotten hurt around that time, right? We started out 1-2 games. I mean, it wasn't like he was. I think he may have came back and played a game by that point. I think more importantly is that the team the team decided it wasn't about trying to get wins in the short term, but to stay on task with teaching and developing Young in the offense.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the sentence to key in on. And if you do circle back to the previous sentence, that some people have the belief that Young needed more coaching, more development. And I wanted to point this out is I know, I mean, like right now, everybody is under fire for how bad it is, from Frank Reich to getting fired, for people saying Thomas Brown could have done it better, to now people saying Thomas Brown don't do shit, can't do nothing, right? He's worst play caller, whatever. And then there's these two things. I do think under center play helps in the NFL. I don't like necessarily just believing and living. So I guess this is what I would say is a lot of people
Running
right
from
now are going
Thailand.
crazy about Ike Ekwonu, and they'll be like, well, if he's a pass blow, he's a run blocking left tackle, so you got to use him to his strengths. You got to do this. Like, well, you know what? We also need you to be able to do everything in the NFL. Sorry, this isn't fucking Temple. We need you, if you're playing left tackle in the NFL, to be able to pass, protect, and run block. So I think that people saying, oh, well, under center doesn't play to Bryce's strengths and this and that. I think we just have to say is that Bryce is number 1 pick in the draft. He's an NFL quarterback. If he can't play under center, then that's like he's got to be able to do both. So I don't think we need to overly protect him from those scenarios, right? So I do think that the under center play that would have helped disguise some of the runs, would have maybe got some of the run game going a little bit better earlier. But the other thing that people have been talking about, like it was just a magic fucking fix. Motion. Oh, we'll motion and we'll do this. The play that looked like the biggest disaster and in the history of football almost. The only thing that made it not the worst play on Sunday was that who was it that threw that trick play? The Bengals tried to throw a pass with T. Higgins or whatever, and it got intercepted. If that play wouldn't have happened, the Ian Thomas motion play, where they motioned Ian Thomas across the line and then ended up throwing like a wide receiver screen in that situation where Mingo, I guess, or whoever it was either Mingo or Chark, didn't step back properly. People could talk about the poor execution from Mingo, but really, if you watch that play, is the clock is drawing down. The play is to not complete. They didn't get it set in time. And so what I'm saying is that is the reason that there were some limitations on some of these more advanced things, because, man, maybe Bryce just wasn't as polished and ready to do all those things right off the bat that everybody assumed they said. And recently we heard some discussion about how Reich wanted him to wear a wristband, and he likes hearing the calls. So is it as simple of just saying, oh, well, we can do all this shit? Well, what if your offense, your play call, you got a first-year play caller in Thomas Brown, you got a rookie quarterback, you got an interim head coach, and you can see how making these things too complicated gets you either a delay of game or onto something dumb like this, right? So I don't know if it's just as simple as like, oh, more motion, and Bryce Young would have been awesome.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. Again, I believe that everybody was handcuffed due to the personnel.
But more talk that Bryce needs development. Even this is coming from within the organization. All right, let's continue.
So this is the final bit from Diana Rossini. Panthers, and this is surprising to a lot of people. Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero was never approached by Tepper to take over the interim head coach position, a league source said. If you recall, when Rivera was asked to take that role in Denver after the firing of Nathaniel Hackett, he turned it down. He later explained he didn't believe it was a good situation. He was fired at the end of the 2022 season and hired to call the defense in Carolina. There are people on the current staff who believe Rivera will have some head coach opportunities outside of Carolina in a few weeks. And this is interesting. I still believe it's a little bit premature for the head coaching talk, but I mean, seeing as what he's been able to do with the sheer amount of injuries on our defense, I mean, crazier things have happened, but I also wouldn't blame him for not wanting to be tied to this situation, have that on his resume. This is what most Panther fans are loving. The expectation in the Panthers building is that David Tepper would try to lure the Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson to Carolina after trying to hire him last season. Johnson decided to stay in Detroit last hiring cycle, but a league source told me Johnson is ready for a head coaching job now. And this is what everybody wants. Ben Johnson's the hot name right now. And this is basically the odds-on favorite in Vegas to be the next head coach of the Panthers. I don't know how much I believe that at this point, but we will see. This is the part that kind of pissed me off, Tony. and I'm really going to be real about it. If this is true, apparently some in the Panthers organization, per a league source, have been texting Johnson about how complicated it's been to work in Carolina this season. Johnson is expected to be a top coaching candidate in 2024. Bro, let me tell you something. If you're a coach on this staff trying to tell other coaches not to come here, bro, you better get your mark ass the fuck off my team, bro. Like, honestly, what are you even saying? That is 100% some snake in the grass type of bullshit. Don't try to ruin the future of my Panthers just because you're in a bullshit situation. Bro, get that shit the fuck out. If you're somebody that's telling someone not to come to the Panthers, we don't need you in this fucking organization, bro. Peace out. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out, pussy. That's how I feel.
Jeez, get him.
No, I'm right there with you, man. That's 100%.
Well, I mean, it might not have been a great place to work this year, though.
I mean, but still, fuck out of here,
They
dog.
didn't have
But aren't
to
you
get a
part
text
of
for
the reason it may not have been a great place to work? Like, can't you
I
take
think
a
they're
little bit of blame
insinuating
100%.
that you
100%.
shouldn't fucking want to deal with Tepper.
Like, we're trying to get out of the hole that we're in, so we're going after the name that we all want. That's the offensive mind, and you're telling them not to come here, bro. Maybe fuck you, dog.
I wonder if
Get the
that
hell
should be
outta here.
considered tampering.
It should be, and they should be fucking fined too. How about that?
You know,
You're
tampering
fucking
happens,
tampering.
dude. There's no way to
Try-
stop.
try-
Yeah,
to
I know. I'm
keep
just
it
saying
happening.
it's like we only think of tampering in a positive way. It's like meddling. This is like the staff, the Frank
Bro,
Reich,
there's some salty motherfuckers
sour
that are mad at
grapes
the
staff.
situation some sour grapes, mad at the situation that they're in. So they want to tell Ben Johnson not to come here. Bro, fuck you and the horse that you rode in on, son.
What do we
Straight
got
up.
next? What's up next?
You know what we have next? We have Panther fans who want to tell us their opinions on the Carolina Panthers. And if you would like to do so, the number to leave your message is 252-228-5098. Let's do some cat call.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Come on, buddy. Hey, man, I've had 3 weeks in a row where it worked. And now,
What's up, C3? It's Kyle from Spartanburg. Just wanted to call in and talk about some things I don't really hear too often. The first thing is I want to talk about Burns and how Burns he's playing like one of the bottom end defensive ends in the entire NFL. I mean, he has 6 sacks, a lousy amount of tackles. He has 1 total tackle in 3 games this year, which is just unacceptable. And in that sack department, Yetur Gross-Matos has 2.5 sacks, and he's number 3 on the team. He's the 3rd best, even though he just missed 5, 6, 7 weeks. I mean, it's just sad that this team is, underutilizing our young players. Jeremy Chin only got 7 snaps last game, so it looks like Evero doesn't even appreciate him. Guys like Alex Cook, who we picked off of the Giants, is getting more snaps than a guy rookie of the year a couple years ago. So, just things like this to think about for the years, coming up, that the team's kind of young, but, a lot of our players aren't meeting expectations that we want them to. And then, that's on the defensive side. The offensive side's been a struggle the entire year, probably one of the worst in the NFL. So it's just really hard to really see any hope for the future, especially without a first-round pick. And, we can say to go get T. Higgins or go get someone, but they have to want to come here. And if they're getting similar money for other opportunities for better teams, why wouldn't they go there? So hopefully, everything gets better soon. and we just gotta keep pounding and hope Bryce actually works out, and the team can hire a competent head coach and a different general manager. But all right, y'all. I hope y'all have a good show.
Thanks for the call, man. Bringing up Brian Burns, you know what is what do you guys think in the wake of this? Is I saw Sheena Quick do one of her like Monday just call out little short videos, and I'm pretty sure that she said Brian Burns pushed him, and I was like, he didn't push him. He didn't push him. This guy is Brian Burns said that earlier they said some things that got him pissed off. I just looked from the Tampa Bay perspective, and all it says is that it came after the extra point or whatever, and that he was just getting too chippy. I haven't heard. I kind of would like to know more. Because unless what the fuck could you have said earlier in the game that got you that angry throughout the whole game? Or can we just have you come out and say you were fucking frustrated about being a Carolina Panther?
Well, he apparently did apologize to, fans and other people. He said that he wouldn't comment on whether or not it was race related. Apparently, it was something that was called to both him and Marquise Haynes. Nobody would say what it is, but again, it's all the speculation. Burns has since said that he's acted out, that he wasn't proud of what he did. But Tony, I think that Peter King clip that you put in here kind of said it right. Brian Burns is on a sinking ship, and you're either going to have to franchise tag him, which no one wants to play under, or you're going to have to overpay him more than what he's worth just to get him to stay on this sinking ship, or you're going to have to try and move him this offseason, which if I'm a betting man, I kind of think that's what we're going to do. And I kind of feel like we're at that point where the Panthers are going to do what we should have done for a long time now, and that's actually commit to the rebuild. And I think that you have to look at everybody on this roster with an open mind and say, what can we get for them? How much value does Taylor Moton have? How much value does Brian Burns have? Hey, how much value does J.C. Horn have? There's a lot of questions that the Panthers are going to need to answer. And you don't have a first-round pick. The free agent market for the offensive line is not that great. You're going to need to add a wide receiver in free agency and via the draft. You don't have a lot of draft picks to do so. I'm sorry. You're going to need more draft capital in the future than the Panthers currently have. And I don't know how it happens, but if I'm a betting man, I'm saying that, Tony, we're not going to be sitting out the first round during our draft party like we're expecting. I think that before time, the Panthers are going to have a first-round pick. Wow. I don't know how it happens. Right? I don't know how it happens, but I feel it.
Well, you can't trade Brian Burns, though, right? Because his contract's up at the end of this year. We didn't sign him, so he just walked.
Yeah, but you can tag him and trade him. You can also do a conditional tag.
That's a good point.
You can also do a conditional tag where you tag him and he is yours unless another organization is willing to give more than you're willing to match.
That's not a good thing, though. That doesn't help you.
But then you don't get anything from that. You just lose.
No, because then you get if someone is willing, they'll give you a second round. I believe a second round pick.
Yeah, they have to give you. You
get back in the Fires.
Yeah, there's a conditional tag.
I think Lamar and them would have gotten it first. If somebody would have done that. Interesting.
I can't remember what justifies the first over the second with that.
Right.
But I do remember, I think Lamar, did he actually get conditionally tagged, or was he?
He did, but nobody stepped up and made the overpay.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, here's some more.
That seems like the move to me.
Here's some more on Brian Burns from the next caller, I believe.
How you doing? It is a great honor to be the Panthers' new general manager. I want to thank everybody for being here today. I'll take questions when I'm fucking done. All right, first order of business. Bryce, Burns, and Horn. Pack your shit. You're out. I'm shipping your ass to New York. You know what I'm getting for you fucking guys? 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and Tommy fucking Cutlets. That's what I'm getting. Hey, Joe Person, put your fucking hand down. You and your fucking dry-ass, fucking annoying fucking voice. Fuck you. I know what you're going to ask. Why would I trade the first overall pick for an undrafted rookie? Because he's Italian. That's why. You know the answer. Because he's Italian and he brings the cutlets, all right? Second order of business. New coach. You might know his grandfather, Vince Lombardi. I'm bringing in Joe Lombardi. David Newton, you put your fucking hand down this minute, you cocksucker. I know what you're going to ask. You and your double-sided fucking bullshit, annoying-ass questions. I know what you're going to say. Why would I bring him in? Because he's fucking Italian. Because he's Italian. He's going to bring some fucking culture. Culture and cutlets. That's what I'm bringing to this fucking team. All right?
I'm
You're going
down.
to see it on the field. Trust me. And in catering. Watch that shit. All right. Well, I'm going to resign right now because obviously I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I didn't even earn this fucking job. Probably like the last fucking guy. So before I go to my former boss for 5 minutes, Mr. Tepper, you fucking nut-headed little fuck. Vafangul Bukyak. All right. I got to go.
Yo, shout out to
You know
the
what? Most
homie
people
Muscle.
are sitting here go, I don't know what that shit mean, but it sounds good. What's a chicken cutlet? Cutlet. I love that. I love that every Italian kid too knows this is this guy Frankie Vittorini who used to come on the show for when we do jet stuff back in the day. I haven't gotten up with him in a long time. And he'd be like, and one time he came on the show, he's like, it's like when you get caught going in the cutlet jar. And I was just like, man, I know exactly what y'all motherfuckers are talking about. That's a call tonight. That's a call. That's gonna be hard to beat. Put your fucking hand down. Let's go to
We
the
just
next
need
call.
some more Italians, you know.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? G Cavassier.
What up, G?
Hey, man, I was thinking of something, man. With Bryce struggling and everything like that, you know, it was crazy. And I put this in a response to your Twitter, Cody. Would you be mad if they did Bryce just like Arizona did Josh Rosen? Remember that dude, man? Remember Josh Rosen? Remember he played 1 year for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following year, they picked up Kyler Murray. But, oh, yeah, we don't have a first-round pick. And I'm at the point now where I do want to give Bryce time, but I'm just tired of fucking losing. So would you be against us pulling Josh Rosen on Bryce Young? Like if we find another quarterback that's a little bit decent and trade him or anything like that, even though we got Andy Dalton back there, it'd be kind of stupid, but knowing Tepper, he probably would do some shit like that to save his own ass. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Josh Rosen. Is that like the new Bryce Young? Something to think about. Keep pounding.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I've thought about this too. I don't think we're in the position to do that, even though it's almost the exact same thing. Fired head coach, blah, blah, blah. It's almost exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I just don't think we have the ability to do that. I don't think we have a GM talented enough to orchestrate that, and I don't think we have the talent, even if we had a different GM, to be able to get that done. It's a possible
I think it would be
idea.
massively irresponsible to do that too.
Why? Look at the Arizona Cardinals. Do you think they're better off with Kyler Murray or
No,
Josh
look,
Rosen
they
right
still
now?
fucking suck.
Right, but do you think they would suck with Josh Rosen or Kyler? Like, would they suck worse with Josh Rosen?
Think this
Pretty sure they would.
well,
I mean, Kyler Murray won
Josh
MVP.
Rosen was in a 6th overall pick, I think. I don't think he was, or maybe he was a 2nd.
He felt
he wasn't the
he was
number
like 9th,
one.
wasn't he? Yeah, he wasn't number 1. He's like 9th, I thought. Something like that.
And I don't think they traded up to get him.
No, he
And
felt
I
like he got
think
passed
this
up.
too is that I don't know if look is that means that whatever evaluation you had on Bryce Young 8 months ago wasn't just off, it was completely wrong.
10th overall, by the way.
10th. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was like
I
9th
think
again,
it would
like that.
just be irresponsible and short-sighted to not give any player of that investment beyond adequate time to just compete. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did
is
that with
that
the
if is that what they get
They
for
marketed the
Josh
coach.
Rosen? Yeah, but here's the thing: you can't bench the coach.
No,
You
you're
can
right.
bench Bryce Young. You could
Well,
say,
you can bench
what? We
Bryce
don't
Young. You've
think
got other
Bryce
players,
Young.
Andy Dalton, that performed better when he played.
Right, but you
bench Bryce
could,
Young.
in theory, go if you really believe. You don't have to cut or trade Bryce Young. This has always been weird to me with these fucking offensive linemen all season. We have a terrible offensive line, and we go and cut an offensive lineman to go get another offensive lineman that'll play for 1 week that we cut the next week. You know this thing called the bench? Just put them on the bench before you go cut them. I think it would be massively irresponsible. I think, too, I don't think that whatever they're seeing behind closed doors is raising any more red flags than what we've already seen. And I don't think we've seen any red flags that say you shouldn't give this guy time to potentially become a good player. Right? I mean, is that if you move? So I just know. My answer is no. I think it would be completely irresponsible.
And to add on top of it, you have to have the type of draft pick to be able to move on. So they went from picking number 10 to having the number 1 pick in the draft. So, okay, maybe if we're talking about like a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, fine.
Right.
But if you're talking about you already need to put talent around Bryce and you have the 33rd pick, which is the best pick of the second round, could you imagine the outcry if we drafted another quarterback at 22 for competition with Bryce?
Yeah, that would be
a lot
wild.
of fans want to do it, but no, that's malpractice.
Yeah, I think so. All right, next call.
Yo, what's up, C3? One love. DJ from G Vegas. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. Beautiful day here in Eastern North Carolina. Anyway, follow up on Sunday's game. Brian Burns was ejected. I know that was a big headline. To me, it's really nothing. Things got heated. The man's tired of losing. Things were said, and he popped a dude. It is what it is. As far as Brian Burns, I've been a big proponent of not bringing him back to get into that conversation just because of the money and where we're at as a team. To me, you could get another first-round pick for him. If you could get 2, that was an amazing deal. But at this point, if we could get 1, maybe you draft another guy just to save that cap space. And then because if you look at it, you got to bring back Derek Brown, bring back Luvu. That would free that up. And then you have to have a conversation about Horn. Him being out so long, you could probably get him on an insane deal to bring him back. So that's what I would do. I'd trade Burns, get another first-round pick, maybe try to get an edge rusher to replace him, and then pay those other pieces and build off of those on the defense. The other thing is Chuba. I mean, everybody, Chuba, the FedEx Ground Player of the Week, baby. Cody, I got to give you props. I didn't see anything in him in the beginning, but just because he couldn't catch, he looked like a baby deer out there. But he's got his legs under him. He's running with power for what he can with his size, and he's been catching the ball too. So I got to give, if you want to insult the man, you got to give him props when he does well. Chuba had a great game. And that relates to where I was taking the conversation is that you're going to have to pay him too. So, and we're already paying Miles Sanders. So now we're in this kind of, we got a mediocre back here, or pretty, arguably number 1 back for us, mediocre for the league, in Chuba. And then you got Sanders, who's had a great season, not doing anything. So to me, but you're paying him. You already got to pay him. So that's going to be a crazy decision. But that would free up a little room to work with him as well. But yeah, other than that, what prompted me to call in too was I was just driving through my neighborhood and I saw these kids playing football in the front yard, right? So no lie. So they got 2, they're probably like 11 maybe. So I'm driving by and they got 2 on the outside. They're playing a little 2-on-2. They got 2 guys on the outside and they got the quarterback and then they got somebody rushing, 3 Mississippi style. Well, this dude, one of the kids playing quarterback was taller than the rest by far and lankier, but you could tell they're all the same age.
Oh,
hold on.
Oh, we lost him.
My bad, got cut off. Quick follow-up. If you don't get me, you don't get me. I don't know how busy you guys are going to be tonight. Anyway,
We're
the dude that
dying to
was
know
a little
about this
taller and
kid.
lankier playing quarterback, you could tell, they're worried about this dude because he just straight up juked my man and freaking ran in for a touchdown. And they're all skinny, 10, 11-year-olds. But this dude is a little bit taller and way faster. It's the physical attributes I'm getting at, boys. They matter. And I think we all know what I'm saying. So I'll leave it at that. Appreciate all y'all do. Like and subscribe. Pound the thumbs up. Just do it. It's free. And appreciate y'all again, man. Keep pounding. Peace.
Keep pounding, brother.
I don't exactly know what he's saying. Could somebody highlight that?
Stop. One of the
like
things though,
size is an
when you're talking about the physical attributes, they matter. They don't matter as much in the NFL generally because everybody has freakish athletic attributes, right? Is you don't occasionally you will run into players that can be good players that don't have great athletic ability, right? But even if you looked at their athletic ability, it's like way above regular people's athletic ability. The problem though is that when you're talking about somebody of like what Bryce Young is facing, he has like basically a handicap. It doesn't matter if he can throw the ball as far. It doesn't matter if he can do all these other things. He's just not as big and fast as the other guys.
Right.
No.
And you cannot say, if anything, it might be something that he can overcome, but his size is not an advantage. Sure. We used to have to tell her, I used to have to say shit like this about Cam. Is like, maybe he's too big to play quarterback. I used to say stuff like this. I was like, Cam's 5-step drop is like a 97 drop to regular humans. It's like, all of these things. And Cam he is so big. Is like, even when the pocket was there, like him stepping into the throw was difficult because his fucking feet are like 9, he's just long and this and that. But, no matter the smallest moments where I could see that as maybe, Cam, his fundamentals aren't as good because he just has crazy, insane athletic ability. I have never in my life thought of what it would be. It's just not an advantage. His size is a disadvantage for Bryce.
Absolutely.
Look,
and go ahead.
Okay, I just want to bring up this is my reasoning for like just looking at statistics and looking at like the logistics of things and like betting on the better odds with this is like I just looked it up. There's 133 Division I college football teams, 105-man rosters. That's 13,965 players. Of those 13,000 players, 250 are drafted. Of those 250 that are drafted, maybe 30 of them have an NFL career that lasts more than 3 or 4 years. Of those 30, those that have 3 or 4 careers, maybe 1 or 2 of them is a Hall of Famer. This is a hard game, and not having the physical attributes to play this game is a detriment to you playing this game. I'm sorry, there are outliers, but that is just the way it is. Like those numbers are mind-boggling. Think about how hard it is to be successful.
That's why it's so crazy with injury. The NFL is oddly like they make it. It's crazy as they could expand to another team. If you think about how many good football players there are, they could add 4 more teams. You probably have, but at the same time, is like we also just want every team. Despite how good these people are fucking desperate and thirsty for 4 game change motherfuckers on their team at one time. If we just had 3 game changers on this team, that's the other thing that I will say about Brian Burns that I don't know yet. And I have been, I would say, the coldest on him out of the whole group the entire time. And like, do you really think that this mug is just a straight baller. Like, we need one baller. We need one defensive end that balls out. We needed one linebacker like a Luke Kuechly in those days and Cam Newton. Those three things, right? Like, there's a special number of superstars. You kind of need two on each side of the ball. Right? Yeah. It's like if you have two on each, but I don't know if we have any on any side of the ball. Like, just straight, like, there's nobody on this team. You know what is, how about this? Is Derek Brown is not even close to sniffing the best defensive tackle conversation one of my favorite of Panther history.
No.
Brian Burns ain't even close to sniffing my third best pass rusher in Panthers history. You know, I'm like, we don't have anybody that I'm so in love with as a player just because they are a fucking monster.
And by the way, which one of those players are even top 5 at their position in the NFL?
None.
I mean, maybe Derek Brown, but even then, that's pushing it.
Yeah,
like
I wouldn't say top 5, but he's certainly
the last superstar that the Carolina Panthers had on their team is now the running back for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, that we're just, and think about how good that type of player has to be to excel in a world, what Greg just said, that like the cut was already that small.
That means like chance you have is having physical attributes. That's the best chance you can have.
Oh, it's an important one. All right. And it's one that definitely is, again, not an asset to Bryce Young, not something that he can't overcome. But not a card in his deck by any means.
Hey. You know who the fuck it is. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka! I have a lot to fucking say for the bitch-ass niggas that want to fucking compare fucking Bryce Young to fucking Jimmy Clausen, a.k.a. Cody Latin Company, trying to say, oh, this fucking season is just as bad as Jimmy Clausen's fucking season. Motherfuckers, y'all was even watching the Carolina Panthers, and a lot of fucking bitch-ass fans just use that as an excuse. In 2010, Jimmy Clausen played fucking 13 games. Bitch ass couldn't even finish the season. Completion rating 52.5. Passed for 1,558 yards. 3 TDs. 9 interceptions with a QBR of 13.8. You sons of bitches, bro. That's how I know y'all just fucking bring shit to the table just to fucking talk shit on Bryce Young. Through 12 games, Bryce Young's completion rating is 60.6.
Yeah.
Passed for so far 2,000 yards of 2,055 yards.
What's this record?
9 TDs, 9 interceptions with a QBR of 73.1. Fuck you niggas, man. Y'all sound like a bunch of bitches to me, bro. Hitting on our fucking QB when we could still be in that fucking same QB carousel over and over and over, motherfucker.
We don't know that we're out of it yet,
Come on, man.
Come on, bro.
We got, 5 games left? 6 games left? And Bryce Young still standing on his 2 fucking front fucking feet,
I
bro.
agree. I agree with this.
That's a fair
When all
point.
you motherfuckers would say, he ain't gonna fucking finish the season. He ain't gonna finish the season. Got no fucking weapons, no offensive
one
line.
said
Getting
that.
fucking ass kicked and week out and week in and week out, bruh. And jumps right back up. The motherfucker doesn't fucking flinch. But you want to be mad at fucking Bryce Young, and I just gave you the fucking stats through 12 fucking games with no weapons, no offensive line, no nothing. With
What's that rank in the NFL, G?
coaching change, everything, and you want to be mad at fucking the truth? Get the fuck out of here, man.
A lot of congratulatory shit about Bryce.
my
So what's
nut.
that rank in the NFL, man? What's the record? What's the record and what's that rank?
What
in
are
the
we
NFL?
talking about?
Close your ears.
I want to talk about the fucking draft. We need to continue to lose games because we ain't winning shit. So far, we have the first pick in the second round, the first pick in the third round, the first pick in the fourth round. We have 2 fifth-rounders and a 6th. And one of those 5th-rounders belongs to Tennessee, and right now they're picking top 10 in the draft. And they continue to fall, we'll have a top 5 pick in the 5th round, too. So what? We don't have a first-round pick. Boo-hoo. Get the fuck over it, man. I'm going to be calling in, man.
Dude.
I got a lot to say. Tony played this shit out, and I got a lot more calls, and you will be playing my motherfucking calls. My wife is telling you. You know who the fuck this is. I'll be calling back.
Yo, G-Baby. Yo, G-Baby, how come you bench Bryce in fantasy? How come you're not using
How
Bryce
many
in
trades you
fantasy
got for Bryce,
no more,
G-Baby?
bro?
How many people trying to trade you for Bryce?
Oh,
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, come on, dog. Like, you up here, bro?
No,
You
I
were
think-
the one saying he's the truth. You were the one saying, bro, you're all gonna eat shit when Bryce breaks every fucking record
And then he
in
benched
the
him.
record books. Like, and bro, and G baby, don't pretend like you haven't even been around the past couple weeks with Bryce Young fucking stinking up the joint. And now you coming in here all aggressive. Yo, the fact that anyone can even compare it to a Jimmy Clausen year is telling you what kind of season Bryce Young is having right now, bro. So
I don't
get
think
mad.
it looked
Don't get
anything
mad
like the
at
Jimmy
us.
Clausen.
Well,
season.
what's funny is on
out
Bryce
the
Young's
field.
one win, when I bring up the stats, he wants to ignore the stats and talk about how it don't matter. All that matters is that he wins. But now all that matters is the stats, not the wins. Do you see how that works? It's so crazy how that works out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think look, as I would say, is putting anybody's name in a sentence with Clausen is an insult.
Yeah, Clausen is by far the worst quarterback that we'll ever have. There's not going to be a quarterback. That's
I don't know, man. I feel like Winky was pretty bad.
Yeah,
too.
Winky was pretty bad.
The problem with Clausen is that he was terrified to throw the ball forward.
Are we talking just
one game with Clausen where they only ran the ball in the second half, right? They didn't throw the ball at all one time in the second half. They ran it every time. Yeah,
He could not throw it past 5 yards. Like it was like there was a big invisible wall where it was like, nope.
Bro, he like anybody who wants to argue that we're not going to have that we would ever have a worse quarterback than Clausen. I do want to point out he had 3 touchdowns and 9 interceptions and only 1,100 yards over 13 games.
Does anybody make excuses for his weapons? Who did he have that year?
With Steve Smith.
We got to look at his offensive line.
I think it's like, how about this?
D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart.
Look, Jimmy Clausen sucked. I'm not even going to try to defend the position of Jimmy Clausen was good. I can't.
Hey, but listen,
he sucked.
D from Sanford, he wants a charity boxing match between Greg and G baby.
There was the other thing was there was no talent on the team. I had one other thing. Jimmy Clausen. Look, Taylor Heineke better than Jimmy Clausen. In his one game for the Panthers that he started or whatever. Then Kyle Allen better. PJ Walker better. Who else? Baker Mayfield better than Clausen. Darnold better than Clausen. Bridgewater better than Clausen. Bryce better than Clausen. It's like a challenge. We challenge you to find a quarterback worse than Jimmy Clausen, particularly since then. Maybe Tony Pike. Did we have Tony Pike?
Enough. I don't think Tony Pike.
And he actually would throw that shit down.
Put him in that, yeah.
All right.
I think Jimmy Clausen's pretty much the winner. There's not much digging to do. He
Winky. I think Winky was pretty bad.
I'm not putting Bryce on Jimmy Clausen's level.
And by the way, Bobby Jordan in the chat keeps on saying, I gave Trevor Lawrence time, but I won't give Bryce Young time. Well, one, they didn't trade up for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is also 6'6", 220 pounds.
I'm giving Bryce
with a
time.
rifle of an arm. So it's
giving Bryce time. I think he needs to.
And here's the.
And I'm also not giving him. I'm also not giving Bryce time either, man. Come on.
Right, and that's where I'm saying is like everybody on the panel agrees that Bryce Young is going to get another shot, and he deserves another shot with a better supporting cast. I don't think there's anybody who's saying. There's people in the chat that are certainly saying cut bait, move on with your day. Have a good time, right? But I don't think there's anybody who's the logical Panthers fan who thinks that cutting him or trading him is in the best interest of the Panthers right now.
All right, we got one more call from G baby. I feel like we should just get it out of the let's just do it while we're in the moment.
You into playing
Rip the Band-Aid
off.
I think we need like a little buzzer we could hit before like a G baby call, like. All right, here we go.
Everybody put on your hard hats.
G baby. Yeah, I'm back. Give it to me, baby. The fuck y'all talking about, baby? Grow the fuck up. Snap up, man. And finish the fucking season strong and stop crying with all that bitch ass crying, man. Who isn't gonna win with shit with this fucking talent we have on this team? Hey, Adam Thielen. Come here, bruh. Because it seems to me like for like the past like 6 games, the NFL got you figured out, bro. You haven't been doing shit since you went crazy the first month. The NFL fucking figured us out.
Pretty easy. Only wide receiver you throw to, just cover him.
NFL's had the Carolina Panthers figured out, in my opinion, since that fucking Minnesota Vikings game. When the fucking Minnesota showed you all you had to do was fucking run on us to barely pass and win the fucking game.
Yeah.
That's true.
That is true.
But that's part of the reason because you can't score.
No offensive line, no weapons, no nothing. My first off-season move is just continuing to build the offensive line. And you know what, Scott Fitter? There's a few moves you made that I've actually liked. Shaquille Griffin, I love.
Why?
Getting another DB, good DB, into the DB room.
Okay.
DJ Fluker, tackle from Alabama. Gabe Jackson, interior offensive lineman. These are all 3 players that I love, that I agree with. But we have to continue to build the offensive line before anything. I have a lot to fucking say. Because I've seen this fan base. Like, and another thing, the Carolina Panthers have a fucking toxic, piss poor, pathetic ass fan base. I've seen niggas turn on niggas.
And you're a part of them.
I've seen niggas that I fucked with at the beginning of the season that don't even
You
fuck
stayed on
with me
Brian
no more.
Burns for 4 years.
Y'all some hoes. Hey, shout out to
you
White
a
Chocolate
hypocrite,
Espresso,
dog.
Kevin.
I think he's
Looks
playing
like
it.
you and I
I
are
think
gonna
he's
have those bye
anticipating.
weeks in the C3 fantasy football tries, bruh. We've been kicking ass and taking names. So I'll see you in that championship, my brother. Because it looks like it's going to be me and you in that chip playing for all the marbles, G. So shout out to you, White Chocolate. And you know who the fuck this is. And I'll be calling back, smoking the good, that good weed, man.
I mean,
shout out to
all
all
I
you
got-
motherfuckers. CK, Cody Lack, Tony. Shout out you motherfuckers.
I love G Baby because
I mean, all I got to say is if he plays
makes
me in the
mad.
playoffs, he hasn't beaten me yet this year.
Oh, nice.
That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
I beat him when I played him. I don't know, but we'll see.
Nothing better than saying, these people are toxic and then call them
football
hoes
is-
directly
Yeah.
after that.
Fantasy football is all
football
luck.
is
If you go look at the
losers,
look,
though. How
you can't
about
play
that?
defense in fantasy
That
football.
is-
If you go look at the leaders and you look at points scored against, that has a lot to do with win-loss record. That's all I'm saying. You can't
Yeah.
play defensive fantasy football, so put it out
Okay.
there like that.
All right.
Fantasy football.
I'm
that's
not
the
making the
losers.
playoffs in our league. Let's
I
go
locked
to
number 5 spot of this week.
Anthony, also in the league. Anthony from Charlotte.
What is up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday. I will not be long with this one. I got finals this week. I got a paper I got to finish up. But, yeah,
What up,
title of
man?
the show, league experts expect the Panthers to continue losing. No doubt about that. Very interesting what Albert Breer is saying. Didn't want to hear it, though. He said, even if he thinks that Tepper cleans house with Scott Fitter, that Tepper's going to hire the head coach again. I mean, this fucking guy does not learn anything from his mistakes. You'd think he would take something from the 6 guys he's hired and fired, the 6 coaches he's had here. No, absolutely nothing. Completely embarrassing. And quite frankly, I don't know where we go from here at this point. And here's the other thing. Everyone on Twitter every day is arguing about Bryce Young. It's like, dude, you're not going to – Bryce Young, yes, he hasn't looked good, but regardless is that I should have known this. Everyone was going to put these high expectations on expectations on him because of what we traded up to get him for. And it's like this situation, he's just not going to be able to thrive in this year. Personally, myself, I mean, I know he hasn't played good, but I'm giving him a mulligan from this year. There's really this just isn't a great way to judge how, what type of player he's going to be. We really don't know. And to be honest with you guys, we really don't even know if this organization is going to be able to put the pieces around him. But yeah, back to my original point, It's like, dude, Tepper doesn't learn anything. And it's like, this isn't going to change. Like, I know we can talk about players all we want underperforming. We can talk about, the coaches underperforming. Regardless, nothing is going to change unless David Tepper decides, hey, I need to step back and I need to hire someone, hire the GM, and then let him go out and find the head coach. Tepper has this mindset that he can just, hire, like, the head coach is the most important piece. I'd argue the general manager, because, you look at what the Eagles have done. The Eagles, Howie Roseman has brought in so much talent, drafted so well, traded for great players, signed great players. Like, Nick Sirianni's job is pretty easy from a coaching perspective, right? He's just got to, hype those guys up and keep the locker room steady. It's not that difficult. In my opinion, the general manager is a little more important. But give me y'all thoughts on that. Nothing is going to change until Tepper changes his ways. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding. I'll see you guys this weekend, man, on the free for all.
Pounding.
Keep pounding.
Thanks, Anthony.
I agree with him. Almost 95% of that. I just don't agree that we can't judge anything on Bryce this year. And he may not have been saying anything. But I do agree that we can't completely judge Bryce based on this year. It's his rookie year, everything going in, and I get that. But I do believe there are some things we can pull from this with Bryce. Now, maybe they won't become true, but I just don't think you can't take all blame away from Bryce.
No. And I listen, there's going to be things that are going to naturally carry over. And one of those things is going to be his leash will be shorter when he does have less of an excuse. If the things get better and he's not going to, we're going to be able to look at this and say, okay, it wasn't an anomaly, right? So this is still an indictment on his career. However, it isn't the entire, the jury has not deliberated on it and come out with their answer to this. So
I can agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
I want to remind that the C3 Panthers podcast is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy football site that you can download and use the promo code C3. When you do that, you get up to $100 on your first deposit matched. If you use the promo code C3 on PrizePicks, we have a good time playing PrizePicks. It's got its moments, guys, where you can win some big real money. And folks, you can, if you play it smart and put your fantasy football expertise or your football expertise to play, you can make some real money. I think the flex plays are awesome, safe, strong ways to continue to build money in your account. Use the promo code C3 and they'll match you up to $100 on your first deposit. Wild, though, when you pull up PrizePicks right now and you read across the top of the quarterbacks, Bailey Zappi, Mitchell Trubisky, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young. I did not. And then I look down to the next law, Aiden O'Connell. I'm like, oh, my God. Look at these projections. 161.5 for Bailey Zappi versus the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football. 180.5 yards for Mitchell Trubisky as he starts versus New England on Thursday. Baker Mayfield, 223.5 passing yards against the Atlanta Falcons. And then Bryce Young, 185.5 passing yards. I wonder, guys, I want to feel like
that's the lowest number I've seen for Bryce's passing yards yet.
Right.
The lowest I've seen is around 190.
I don't know the last time he went over his prize point projection, or more than, should I say.
But you got to think about garbage time.
Bryce,
you can pick up a lot of yards in garbage time.
Yeah, but I don't think when was the last time he did more than just on PrizePicks? I don't know if it could go back.
Well, 2 weeks ago.
I
saw it 2 weeks ago.
No, I think that's more than the current projection.
What has worked
for
me
okay, I got you.
Is going Bryce Young less on the passing yards. And dude, CJ Stroud, I'm sorry. Every time I've done more for Stroud, bro, let me tell you, it's a lock. Every time it's a lock.
Can Bryce Young get 200 yards passing this week?
Here's Is there an option for Bryce Young to throw a pick? Because if there is, pick that one. He's going to throw at least one pick.
Tony, but okay, I understand at this point, it's just blind optimism. Unless you can tell me the reason why you think it'll happen. You're basically just like, fuck it. Like you're flipping a quarter into a wishing well. You know what I'm saying? Like what reason would you have to go more?
I mean, you have nothing to indicate more. Yeah.
Well, I think the only time is you're trying to find when the number reaches a number that is like in.
So you're like, surely this time.
Yeah. You know what? And guess who I did that with for an entire season last year? This guy, Baker Mayfield. I was like, 180. Surely an NFL quarterback could get 180. All right, now you're making fun of me, and it makes sense. If we look to just looking around here, Aiden O'Connell, 213 versus Minnesota. We need to find a good
Bryce, you can do it. Just hit that less, and then I think you'll be rocking. But
hey, Tony, what's Noah Brown look like, wide receiver? Because they just lost Tank Dell. I want to see what his yards look
Tank
like.
Dell's out for the year.
Yeah,
man.
so I want to see what Noah Brown's yards look like, because it may be low and he may be a big producer, because he's had 2 games with like 170 yards.
Look at these numbers. This is all.
I don't even know if they got him on here.
New England.
They may not have him on here. Yeah,
Atlanta,
Nico Collins is there. Nico Collins. Ooh, I don't know. They're going up against the Jets, and that secondary is actually pretty good.
That's a good defense. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good defense.
I don't know. That's
look,
how much,
this is another one. Like, look, that's money each week.
No, it's not. Look what he did last week.
No,
one week, every other week.
What's DK Metcalf?
It started out being money every week.
Now it's
but
falling
as
off.
you can see, the past 5 in a row.
Dude,
It's almost like they heard the criticisms that all we do is target Adam Thielen, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll show you." And now they don't even look his way, seemingly, bro. It's embarrassing.
I like Diggs getting off against
77.5. Yeah, I like that.
Oh,
I like that more.
I'm going this is I'm rocking with Philly, and I'm rocking with Philly. Where is
they're playing Dallas though, right?
Yeah. Look,
I don't
Devonta Smith. That I'm getting on that Devonta Smith joint.
Yo, dude, you're picking my fantasy team right now. Go ahead.
Brandon Cooks. I'm getting Brandon Cooks more than he's been on a. Oh, actually,
what's Tyreek Hill at? I'm interested to see what they project.
Brandon Cooks is a lock at touchdown, but not at yards.
45. I like it.
103.5 for Tyreek Hill is his projection.
That's insane,
man.
Like you got at some point.
Look. I don't care what anybody says. Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, and everybody's gonna get mad at me for this, and Brock Purdy are the top 3 candidates for the MVP this year. Change my mind.
Oh, you're not going to have me change.
Those 3 guys right there.
You know
change
what,
my mind.
Greg? If there's any year that a quarterback doesn't win it, I do think this would be the one.
Yeah,
it remains to be seen that they do that. But dude, Tyreek Hill and CMC have to be in discussion.
And Brock Purdy does not get enough respect. He deserves to be in the conversation for MVP. He's not going to win it. He deserves to be in that conversation, though.
I think it's. I think that people aren't going to put him in that conversation right now. He did go on that slump for like 3 games when they were having a really bad stretch there for the 49ers, but he's picked it back up since then. So
I think Philly's about to go on a big losing. I think Philly's going to lose to Dallas.
I do too.
In a row.
I do too.
Like we're about to even out the NFC. I think.
And the NFC is about to. I think the 49ers are now the top dog. I think the Cowboys are about to dethrone that second spot.
I'm putting in this right here. Here's my first entry. Stephon Diggs, more than 77.5 yards against Kansas. Devonta Smith, 65.5 more. Brandon Cooks, 45.5 more. And I've been rocking. I rock with Jalen Hurts, 247.5. Bounce back right there. I'm going to do a flex play. If I get 4 of these projections correct, I get 5 times the money. If I get 3 out of 4, I get 1.5 times the money. I'm placing a $20 to hopefully win $100. That's the goal right there. And then we'll peek around. Is there a second half NBA we can play real quick? No, you can play all of those. You can play NBA. You can play football.
Go to COD. COD, dude. Let's go to esports, bro.
There you go.
COD.
Yeah.
Where
Bet on
is
that.
that?
I know nothing about it.
Somewhere up here.
It's up on the right side.
Right there. Boom. You
Look
can
at that.
play maps and kills. All of that are real projections. Go to prizepicks.com. Use the promo code C3. Make sure that you use the promo code C3 to not only get your promo funds, but to also continue to help grow this podcast. They keep an eye on it. They've been a sponsor now for 2 years in a row. We'd love to keep them around because we're going to keep playing Prize Picks regardless because it's just fun as fuck. Yeah. And use the promo code. The notes are in the description. Cody Lack, it's 11:11. Why don't we take another call?
Sure. Well, how about real quick? Why don't because this is fast. It's not even like
another one. Yeah, I got one other thing to say.
Yeah, this is not even like a big thing. They've announced each team's Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate, and ours is none other than Bradley Bozeman, who we have done a charity stream for before. Bradley Bozeman, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. I mean, not much to say about it, but hey,
no.
Shout out
I
to
will
Bose.
say this is sadly I got to be the one person that throws a shady joke on it.
Oh no.
Headline Bradley Bozeman for what? Good Citizen Player of the Year, Man of the Year, also going for Worst Center in the League award this year as well. Best Man off the field, Worst Man on the field award. Ouch. I don't like to say that, but this is what Peter King said. He said Bradley Bozeman is the worst in the league at his position in sacks 8, pressures 40.
I think again. I think it's. I think it's
He's
one
the
of those
Man
things.
of the Year for opposing defensive tackles.
Right. I again, and this is not me. Just I really do believe that his performance isn't all on him. I think it's.
I agree.
It's really difficult to be the only guy in the middle there that's trying to do anything. And when nobody else is picking up their protections, it's going to fall on you, and it's going to make you look a lot more overwhelmed than you are.
Yeah, I agree. But harsh words.
Yeah.
From Peter King. Bradley Bozeman is the worst in the league at his position. Ouch. But best off the field. Let's go to D in Sanford.
What's going on, C3 family? D, Sanford, North Carolina, in the building. Hey, I know we had a rough one with Tampa Bay, but first off, shout out to the great Tony Dunn, PK, Cody, Greg, Muscle Marinara, that effing guy, that doggone Panther picker. Shut the hell up. But yo, for some reason, I'm just overly ecstatic. I'm ready to play them Aints. For some reason, deep down in my belly, we about to pound, and we going to keep pounding. We going to block. We going to run the routes correctly. We're going to play discipline. Bryce is going to make the throws that needs to be thrown. Our defense will stop the run. Why, Diaz? Because I got faith. Faith in what the Panthers do. Faith in who we are. I know everything don't look good, but this is my rallying call to all y'all that lost faith. Playoffs might not be here. I guarantee the playoffs ain't here. We know mathematically out. But we got something to play for. We got something to play for. That Panther on that helmet. That black and blue. Shout out to the Panther Nation. Oh, also, we done dropped the Off the Porch podcast. Check me out. 2 episodes done dropped.
Oh,
doing
nice.
all sports, but we are talking Panthers. Yo, check me out on that. But yo, let's get ready for that win against the Saints.
Hey.
Carr's probably not going to play. We're going to go. We're going to make Winston look lost, make him want to steal crab legs again. I'm just thoroughly excited to hear the show.
What did
hear
my
everybody's
trainer say?
takes. Hey, man, I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Yo, remember Off the Porch podcast. Yo, I love y'all.
Love you, D. Hey, y'all check out Off the Porch podcast, man. We always say there's enough likes and subscribers and viewers for everybody, man. The rising tide lifts all boats, and D does nothing but show love to C3, man. So y'all do that man a favor. Go to Off the Porch check him out. Hit that like and subscribe. We got to show that C3 love, man. That's real. That C3 love, man. That's what we do. We appreciate you, D. And hey, man, look, I love that. I love some optimism. I'll never hate on the
That
fans
needs to be the
for
locker room
believing on this
speech, to be
team.
honest.
Yeah,
like, is
bro,
you
we need
just
to put-
add one other thing because it had kind of like a little preacher, and not preacher and the what is the congregation feel at sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And then had like you do it for the Panther on your helmet. So you could have said all you got to do to make D from Sanford to give the pregame speech is to go in there, give that same speech, and maybe give a look to the man on the left of you, look to the man to the right of you. You both got the Panther on your helmet. Nobody else believes in you, but you got to believe in you. Go out there and do it for the Gipper or something, whatever. But like that would have been a great pregame speech, and I'm sure more rousing than Frank Reich's turned out to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, is at this point you have nothing to lose but losing. Like, I mean, what else? It's like go out there and win one and surprise everybody. Surprise us, surprise yourselves, surprise your family. Get on out there. And I hope, man, I can't tell you, I'm thirsting for a Bryce Young breakout game.
Yeah.
Like
Me too,
anybody. I'm
man.
walking through the desert
Yeah.
of I always win one breakout game that I can put my hat on and go, you know what? That's the Bryce that man, if we could get that Bryce, that's the Bryce we want.
Dude, I want an exciting game. You know, man, my best friend's like a big Colts fan, and it was cool that we got to go to the Colts game this year. And like I was talking to him the other day, like because we got to go to the Panthers Colts game 8 years back. And the Panthers won, so we called it the Panthers game. The Colts won this game, so for the next 8 years, I've got to call it the Colts game. But he told me, he was like, it was fun to go to the game and celebrate, but it was the most boring game ever.
And they had two
I was
pick
like,
sixes.
I feel so bad about that, you know?
Well, I guess I tell you this, it was more
watch.
boring for you than it was for him. That's what you should have turned and said, is at least you had pick sixes.
It was terrible.
Yeah, man, it is slow. Let's go to Kyle and VA.
What's up, boys? It's Kyle from VA. I ain't called in a while because this is just been the worst season of action I have ever witnessed. There's nothing else to talk about. Same conversation every week, but man, I give y'all boys props for coming up here every Tuesday, every post game, and continuing to put out shows. I give y'all props.
Thank you.
I see y'all be catching heat on Twitter, but honestly, it's been hard for me to even scroll Twitter because Panthers Twitter is something.
We got to talk about this right after.
He's not wrong.
This season, like it's the same thing every week, and I'm a Bryce supporter. I think Bryce could be good if we put him with a O-line and a couple of weapons. But you have these people, bro, that will pick 3 fucking plays out of the whole game. Like y'all just can't fucking see it. Y'all just fucking stupid. You don't know football.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But and y'all know what I'm talking about. It's the same people. It's the same people every week, bro. They do it every week. It's just we rerun the same fucking cycle after every fucking game. It's so fucking annoying, dude. I cannot stand Panthers Twitter this year. It is the stupidest shit.
I hear you, man.
That may be why I got off Twitter, to be honest with you.
You should mute,
it's so hard to just get on there.
mute Bryce Young from your
What are we
mentions.
doing at this point, bro? This shit is so dumb. But anyways, y'all keep doing y'all shit. Real fans gonna rock with y'all. Cause it ain't
Appreciate it,
nobody
brother.
else up here doing this shit day in and day out. And I know all of us appreciate it. I appreciate the hell out of y'all.
Appreciate you,
Y'all
man.
keep doing y'all's thing. The Panthers will one day start doing their thing, I guess, and it'll be fun again. Keep pounding.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Twitter streets are fierce these days.
They're fierce, man. And listen, I know that there's like a subset of our fans, like Kristen LaDane, who says she doesn't do social media, just YouTube. And
That's
a lot of people do follow us just on YouTube via our pod, and that's great. But we're trying to promote a podcast. We're trying to have a presence on Twitter. And if y'all know me, I do lots of twittering. Okay.
Lots.
Yeah, and by the way, like we have a hardcore fan base of Panther faithful that they put C3 in their name. So anytime an opinion pops off from a C3 member, it kind of just gets broadly associated to everyone of C3. Like our man White Chocolate Espresso, he's been going back and forth with folks all day long, getting into it. And like on Twitter, like people kind of think that C3, we're like the fringe of Panther fandom almost. Like we're the Panther fandom extremists apparently. But no, dude, like listen, we promote one, we're a podcast for the fans by the fans. Like Tony, our founder, has always said, we're supposed to be just like you're in the car on the way to the game, hanging out with your boys, talking Carolina Panthers. And in that kind of safe space that we're providing, all opinions go. We don't tell G Baby what kind of opinion to have.
Right.
We don't tell YB Jordan what opinion to have, or Sea Dog, or Anthony, or Pickle, or White Chocolate. Bro, we love all the opinions, and we want to know your opinions, man. It's a dialogue. That's why we have fun doing this in the first place, and that's why we're not going nowhere.
Let me ask you this, CK, to get you in on this. Isaac at Isaac Mocha 3 on Twitter. I saw this is for some reason I saw somebody mentioning our tags or something out there.
Yeah.
And I went and just searched in the search bar on Twitter, C3. And which is kind of fun is we're now at the top, like anytime, like it used to be like Chinese, whatever advertisement company or some shit like this is now the first one was like symbol of the bat symbol up there, and people were like, y'all better defend this. Are you going to defend this? And I kept scrolling and I see this tweet, CK, it says, what does C3 on Panthers Twitter mean? LOL question mark. Is that some sort of clan or something? What do you think C3 means? I was like, I wanted to respond. I mean, I was like, oh God, is this an existential conversation about the fucking existence of myself and the podcast?
Well, I would almost say that if there was a third Cody on the podcast, it would be the Cody times 3. You know what I mean? But we don't have
right?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you? How about that? Put you in the emotional, existential spot.
All right, here's what I'll say. I said it in our little private chat, and I'll say this publicly. There might be others with more views. They might be others with more likes. They may have better sponsors and more interviews and all of those things. But no other podcast has the community that C3 has. Not a single one from Panthers Nation, I should state. I don't want to sit there and talk about other ones.
Undisputed.
We don't have views. We have family. Period.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote back to the person because first of all, I got riled up because I read the first reply. The first reply. Did he take it down? Oh, he deleted it.
What was it?
He deleted it. I knew I should have screened. The very first reply to the guy's tweet was a guy who said 3 cripples.
Oh,
That's
somebody
what
might
he
have
meant.
reported. He might not have deleted. Somebody might have reported it.
It says this was deleted by the post author.
Oh,
Anyway,
never mind.
Either way. This is what I wrote.
Yeah,
C3 was I wrote C3 is a moniker for a podcast. I was going to be like, well, we started as a website named CarolinaCatChronicles.com, and I thought that was too long of a name to put into a podcast name, so I named it C3 because there's 3 C's in Carolina. No, I said C3 is a moniker for our podcast. We encourage Panther fans to be a part of I said the C3 fan community, which simply is Panther fans talking football. Started 10 years ago, and just simply want to talk football. which is to me so less stressful than real shit in the world, but also remarkably stressful talking football all the time with y'all motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, look, we allow everyone in the cat calls. I put up all the comments. Everybody's saying, "Oh yeah, well Cody, you said this," or "Oh, but Cody, you bugging." Like, dude, I'm not above criticism, and I in fact, I even kind of revel in it at this point. Come at me, bro. I like it. I want the smoke.
I think the fact that people are, and I won't say like it because it's not a self-gloat about the podcast, but I mean, we have to take some small wins every now and then to keep our own enthusiasm for building more and more of the podcast, right?
We ain't getting wins from Carolina, so yeah,
that's
we gotta
right.
take our own
Right.
small wins. Yeah,
And I mean, it's just not as easy to double your listeners or subscribers as many people. I don't know if many people would think. So when you have things that are cool happening, you kind of got to hold on to them to get third and fourth and fifth momentum, like wins, winds, so we keep doing this. So we don't just be like next year, like, oh God, we got to fucking do this podcast. And I would say, Cody, the fact that people are talking shit about the opinions, like 5 years ago, nobody even fucking talked shit about the opinions.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Look, man, dude, the way I look at it, all interactions is good interactions, bro. Like, we have a presence. And, the reason I'm so proud of doing this for y'all boys, is because, I mean, Tony, I remember that one point in time, it was just me and you for a little while before CK and Greg jumped in here. Like, we were just grinding, doing this to, 25, 30 viewers a night. And the fact that we're almost at midnight, we still got 133 people watching us. Like, we've been grinding, man. We've been putting in work, and we want all of C3 fans to feel like we're dependable. Like, even in a 1-11 season where we don't have a first-round pick and everything's going wrong, that you can depend on C3 to be here for your fandom, for you to vent, and for you to talk about the team that you love. We also have found out that a lot of people just don't live by Panther fans. Like, they either don't live in the Carolinas or they're from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So they don't get to have that camaraderie with other fellow Panther fans. And we understand that we provide that for people too. And we love that we're able to provide that community for Panther fans to hang out and talk shit about their team and speak their opinion.
I love this next comment.
Well, before we get to, I think me and Greg deserve probably 5-year contract. What I just heard you say is
easy. Yeah, I'm gonna demand.
You said that before me and Greg joined up, that you guys were dealing with just like 20, 30 views. And
I was thinking the same thing, brother.
So what?
We're gonna force a trade, dude.
That's
What was-
Yeah,
What was
tag me and trade me.
Are you
I
gonna
got you.
sit out next season?
Are we allowed to franchise tag?
Y'all think
Listener?
Greg has just been missing this past few weeks?
He's been sitting
Yeah, it was a holdout.
Been holding out, man.
It was a
Yeah, that's what it is.
Bro's been out here waiting for that long-term contract. He's like, I need that guaranteed money, dude. Anyway,
Bro, we spend money like the Oakland Athletics around here. I wanted to go back to this comment real quick. Justin Long, he says this. He says, C3, y'all were literally my introduction to Panthers podcasting, have introduced me to other podcasts, always shown love, never taken yourselves seriously. I like this last part because I heard someone say this one time, and I stole the line, is I take what I do seriously, but I don't take myself seriously.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, if you do that, then it's not about you. It's about what you do. Anyway, let's go to another call. Oh, speaking about all over the place, we're going to Utah, I believe.
Oh.
Yo, C3, it's Damien from Utah. Yo, how much better would we be if we still had Cam the GOAT and we never traded away Christian McCaffrey, we never traded away DJ Moore, we beefed up the offensive line, we freaking used our number 9 pick from last year on a defensive stud, offensive stud. Who gives a shit? Why did Rule, I don't get it, dude. Rule and Tepper ruined this team. And, just because they had a dog in the locker room. someone who could actually lead the team without an actual coach. You know what I mean? Cam was the GOAT. Everybody left. We could have had all these free agents coming to sign with Ace Boogie. You know, dude.
We miss you.
The team's gone way downhill.
I miss you too.
It's hard. It sucks to blame everything on Tepper, but like that's true.
Why are the Jets not fucking with them? Why are the Browns not fucking with them?
Mr. Beast, the Carolina Proud, to buy the team and then make a YouTube channel on how to make the team better. Today or yesterday, I think he was passed by the GTA 6 preview. The Panthers winning the Super Bowl with him being the owner. Now that's the record breaker. Let's start a petition. Mr. Beast, buy the team. Let's go. Keep pounding. Love you all. Keep rocking. Also, C3 is by far the best podcast around Panther related.
Thank you.
Podcast ever. Thank you guys so much. Tony, you're the freaking man, dude. Thank you so much, guys.
Man, what a nice call. Thank you. Yeah, we miss Ace Boogie so much. Speaking of Mr. Beast, I saw he did. There's a video right now, and I keep clicking on the link in Twitter, like to some article about the video, but that he posted somebody up in a grocery store, and it's $10,000 a day, and the guy's like in the subtitles of the shit, it was like he's been in there for 4 weeks or something, 5 weeks or something like that. How long do you really think you can last in the grocery store, guys? Because if you gave me my phone and access to like just watch shows, like if I could just like Netflix, drink beer and eat potato chips, I could straight do 20, 21 days.
Wow, dude.
By yourself, though, when would you? Is it possible? I mean, what would you just get drunk and read every magazine in there?
Dude, there's no situation you can put me in that I don't feel like I can survive.
I'm sorry. When would you just go crazy, Greg? $10,000 a day. Tell me how many days. How many days would you go if Mr. Beast put you in the grocery store right now?
For
before you flip, before you just said I gotta walk outside.
So
it's $10,000 a day. You have to stay
$10,000 a day. For every day you stay in the store, you get $10,000. But when you leave, you stop getting $10,000. It's over.
I could live in a store for a year or for a year. Are you kidding? In a Walmart? Are you kidding me? I could live there for a year.
Never walk outside.
Never walk outside. Yeah, are you kidding me? If
they have glass windows.
$10,000 a day.
He's at a grocery store. So do you think you get television access? No. Like, what if
when you've been broke and you're off or something like that? It's easy.
But you don't think you would go crazy if you couldn't just watch TV or talk to someone via?
You don't think I can watch TV in Walmart?
Would you have? Well,
it says a grocery store, so I don't know.
Sorry, grocery store. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe they got a TV in the break room. I'm sure they got a TV in the break room.
I thought you said Walmart. My fault. That's a little different. Grocery store is a little different. I still think I go.
I think after 21 day. I mean, I think I could definitely do 2 weeks.
Let's look at it. What's a year in there?
365 days in a year, Greg.
Yeah, I know. So it's $365,000. So
no,
that would be $1,000 a day. You'd be at 3.5 million if you did a whole year.
So you're telling me. So that's what I've got to look at it at. So you're telling me I can't leave this store for 1 year, but if I do. Or if I don't, I'll get $3.5 million.
Well, you don't even have to make it that complicated. You could just walk in there for 3 days in a row and get $30K.
If you say 365 days, granted, remember, you're not around your family. You're not around, like, you're only limited to what's in the store, dude.
Bro, I'm in there for 3 months.
Oh man, you got so much food,
and then I'm going back to my family.
I guess all the meat would go bad eventually. You just put it all in the freezer. I would just.
I would guess it's a working grocery store.
Yeah,
right.
People are coming in. It's not just a straight empty one.
Right.
I would probably
that makes it easier. Dude, you'd be like, hey, can you get me some drugs from the outside?
Yeah, I would go. Like honestly, like if I could 10,000 a day, give me 3 months in there. I can take care
you'd
of
be like, hey, kid,
and
imagine this is you went from the person that was the kids asking you to go in and buy beer at the store. And you're like, hey, sneak out there and get me some.
Hey, let me tell you the scenario where we wouldn't be able to do this. 8 years ago, we were Super Bowl contending team, all that. Like this year,
And now
makes,
we're talking about sitting in a grocery store for a year.
I think the fact that the Panthers are this bad makes it a possibility to sit in that grocery store for a year. I mean, it can't get much worse than what we've been dealing with watching paint dry.
Oh man, no, I know. I'm just thinking
ground.
realistically. I think after about 3 weeks, I go crazy.
3 weeks? You couldn't do it more than 3 weeks. You don't think?
If there were no people coming in, I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't. I don't know. I think I'm just trying to be realistic about like. I'd love to cook. I would fucking definitely go through that beer and the wine. Like, I mean, I got a lot of drinking ahead of me if I'm in a grocery store by myself.
Well, the other part of this is, are you able to cook? Are you just
because
gonna...
even small groceries got like rotisserie
ovens, you gotta cook. There's no stuff there.
I like
all the stuff you don't gotta cook
Kristen
first.
says, some Modelo.
Hey, but you're bored, Greg. You're bored. So you're like, hey, I'm gonna cook a chef's meal tonight.
You cannot drop me in a situation I cannot survive in, man. I'm telling you, that's
awesome.
all there is to it. I guarantee you, I can survive in this situation you drop me in.
All right, here's the next call.
Hey guys. So I'm in the middle of the live podcast. It's about 9:15 or so. It may be a little bit later, 9:30. Anyway, Scott from Winston-Salem. What's up, Greg?
336, baby. What's up, man?
And I just want to say, how about if Chris Tabor's special teams is doing great? I think we got an all-pro punter. I think he's averaging about 50 yards a game.
Yeah.
Net.
Hecker, baby.
So why don't we just get down to the red zone? And how about 1st and 10 or 2nd and 5? We just bring in Eddie Pinero, let him kick a field goal, get 3 points straight away, no matter what the down is. And then how about
this? How we won our only game.
Since
5 field goals.
The offensive line can't pass protect. They can barely run protect. Why don't we just, about 3rd down or something, just punt the ball away? Just keep pinning them deep. And then when Eddie gets close enough in his range, just kick a field goal. It can be 1st and 10, 2nd and 2. Just kick a field goal. And we get 3 points. Why don't we just 3-point them to death? I don't think anybody's ever tried that. That'd be something new. Since none of this other stuff we're doing is working. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. I know that's pretty stupid, but however, it would be funny to see. But you guys do a great show. Appreciate what you do. Keep pounding.
His logic is not invalid, man. The only game we won, we had 5 field goals. We didn't score a touchdown in. So, yeah. Or did we have 5 field goals? Or did we get a defensive touchdown? I don't think Bryce scored a touchdown in that game, did he? The game we won?
No, he had that 2-point. He rushed for the
2-point. And then he had the field goal that was going to be like a 47-yarder that he drove us to, that we got like 35 yards on a penalty for, that won the game. So, yeah. Okay, cool.
Hey, you can make the argument Johnny Hekker is one of the best players on our team. It has been for a long time now. Johnny Hekker is the man. And again, like whenever Stratch brings up Tabor and like any kind of optimism, it's like I also can't get excited about someone that we know is not going to be the head coach. Like he's just going to be the interim. So whatever they're able to muster up, like they're literally going to redo the whole thing no matter what. It doesn't feel like a Steve Wilkes situation where, Steve Wilkes was potentially auditioning for that job. Nobody thinks that's the same thing with Tabor. Tabor's not going to be our head coach.
Next call.
Gentlemen, what do you think about the college football playoffs where you have Washington, Michigan, Texas, Alabama, which, among other things, are 4 teams that can beat the Carolina Panthers. But what do you think about this transfer portal, the NIL, and now paying like college players are getting paid and becoming like millionaires? For example, like Matt Rule was saying that it's going to take $2 million to get an elite quarterback to go to Nebraska. So if colleges are going to be paying these youngsters to play, and you could be a millionaire before you're even like down on college, well, you could have these young athletes in college for 7 years. So therefore, how about if they do that, why doesn't the NFL just draft players right out of high school, have a mega combine, evaluate all these kids out of high school, 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. If the NCAA is going to do that, why doesn't the NFL just get them out of college? So what are your thoughts on that, about the direction where college football pay-to-play is going? Bye-bye.
It's I have an opinion. This is gonna
go ahead. I want to hear yours now. I got one.
This could very well be the downfall of college football. This is they're talking about last year. I think I was reading something, and this is a wild thought. 40% of all the people that entered the portal lost their scholarships and are sitting at home.
Yeah.
And so they said that was last year. This year, the number of people that entered the portal is like 3 times that number. It's some ridiculous figure. It was ridiculous.
These are the unforeseen outcomes of doing things like NIL deals. And like I said, I get it. College players bring in a lot of money, and I totally understand that. You're also riding on a free ride for 4 years, getting paid, having housing.
Think about it. That's an
no, man, everybody's got to
view,
go through the lumps. And if your lumps that you got to go through is going to an Ivy League college or an elite Division I college, being a king of the campus, basically probably doing whatever you want to in any classroom you want to,
and that's
being
not
okay,
getting a good education,
getting
so you
paid.
can't say
I'm
being
telling
able
you,
to
man,
do whatever
that
you
is not
want.
taking lumps. I'm sorry.
No. Here is what you're actually, I think, is seeing is that when you say the end of college football, CK, I think what we could see is like a evolutionary transformation of college football, where it's a super consolidation, right? Where ultimately you form a semi-pro league, right? That's what it is. And Greg, the reason I don't like that kind of what I think is antiquated rhetoric about getting an education, this and that, these sports programs have long been divorced from academia prior to NIL. They're funded by boosters. They're funded, all of these buildings and shit is all basically they're using the name of a college adjacent to be the name of their semi-pro team. And the colleges like it because that adjacent naming rights for that college football team brings them students in. And other than that, it is truly just what I think is what I just think the end of it's going to happen is you're going to see more and more teams that were on the fringe in that in the past world, particularly maybe even an East Carolina University, like my favorite college football team, is that over time, you're just going to see these the top ones consolidate into the ones that have the money that are going to be able to get the best players. And I think you're just seeing a semi-pro league that we're going to have to acknowledge that almost divorced from the college system. And I don't know why. Maybe you just give naming rights to each other. That's all it is. The only relationship is naming rights and location or something. But this is, you see these 4 teams. What is crazy about this is you're now talking about a team that has some crazy ass boosters and money in comparison to an East Carolina University in Nebraska. And they're like, oh, we can't even get a quarterback that competes.
Now,
we can't even afford that.
Look, I'm a Clemson fan, and Dabo Swinney probably draws the most ire out of people whenever he talks about this because he's been kind of very anti-NIL and all these things. But a lot of the things that he's talked about, they are coming true. Like now you're having this thing where instead of you extolling the virtues of your program and how it can build you as a player and as a student and as a man, like in today's world, they're leading with the amount of NIL dollars that they can bring you by bringing a student to your school. And by the way, now with the transfer portal, there's no guarantee that they don't come there, sit there for a year, and then they peace out. Because it used to be you had to wait a year before you transferred. Now you don't have to do that. Like, look, Tony, I'm all for people getting paid. Like, especially if you have my name on the back of a jersey and you're selling it for all this fucking money and I can't get a piece and I'm the one putting my body on the line. Yeah, I think that they should be able to make some change off of that. But the vice versa is also true, is that it is elevating the worst parts of sports, and now it's bringing it to college football, where there was some sense of like, I
Yes.
mean, purity is the wrong word, but it's like there's something different about
It was
college
built
football.
on false purity, though.
Well,
Now
Right.
you're just seeing what it really is.
Well,
Now
here-
you're
here-
seeing what it's been, dude. It's just now the players are getting a part of the cut. Is
Well,
that it's
but-
always been cutthroat. It's always been money driven. It's always look. Do you know how many times kids are rescinded? Their scholarships are rescinded for injuries, this and that. Those systems, look, they do not do this. Alabama does not spend $1 gazillion on their program. Georgia, $1 gazillion on their program. If it didn't benefit everybody financially, right? So you're just seeing it for what it was behind the charade of some sort of purity behind it.
Well, Tony, I think that if you really look at this, you're kind of making my point. Like I'm arguing that paying players NIL deals was a slippery slope that's leading us to a bad situation. And what that is, it's leading us into what corporate America is, where you're going to have the biggest teams that have the best boosters right now. It started with boosters. Now you're paying NIL deals,
which is just
the best
boosters.
team. The Alabamas, the Michigans, all these teams that have the most money and the biggest donors are going to be the ones that dominate every year, period. There's going to be no talent going to where you want to go to. It's where can I make the most money? This is a problem started by paying players. And while you say
no, it was already existed. We were just doing it in different forms, Greg. We were just doing it in stadiums. We were just doing it in campuses before. We were just being like, oh, look at the cool fucking locker room we have. That's how they lured these motherfuckers in the first place.
Right. But Tony, I don't give a shit what your locker room looks like. If you're going to pay me millions of dollars a year to go play for you, I'm taking that deal. And I guarantee that's what every college player is going to do. So the teams that pay the most are going to be the ones that get the best players. That's why paying these players has ended up being bad. Because all it's doing is making the NCAA like a corporation. That most rich teams that have the best donors are going to be the ones that get the best players. Period. And you're going to have 8 teams dominating the NCAA in a few years, regardless of anything. Period. You're not going to hear about anybody else.
I think I'm a little bit more than that. But all right, let's go. Oh, by the way, think about this. Did Florida State get screwed?
I can answer that.
I think so.
Florida State got screwed when their quarterback got hurt. You can't tell me that if they still had Jordan Travis as their quarterback, that they wouldn't be the number 4 team instead of Alabama. Like, is it unfair? Yeah, it is. But I don't know. I think that they got it right. And I know FSU fans are pissed, and they have a right to be pissed. But I don't know, man. I just think that that's probably the only option that you can go with.
All right, let's go. Next goal.
Gentlemen, I just want to say thank you for all you do. I want to give you some truth bombs and then just talk a little bit. But first, I just want to thank you guys for what you do. I got to be honest. I speak the truth. You guys did used to annoy me a lot, but you grew on me. So now I have it as a routine to where I watch your guys' podcast, usually live.
Nice.
And have called in. This is Christian from Arizona.
Thank
you. Probably don't know who the fuck I am.
Appreciate you, man.
But let me tell you, I've been a Panther fan on the West Coast, living in California since October 26, 1993. I was like 16 years old, fucking driving my ass like a Foot Locker to get myself some Panthers gear. Long story. But I haven't been in the realm of social media and such. I just got to say, I feel a little fucking disrespected because I've been on the fucking Bryce's trash since back in fucking his senior year. No one's fucking listening to me. I predicted this shit would happen, and I was trying to raise the flags. But anyhow, with that said, you'll be seeing me more on social media. Just wanted to say thank you. You know, I don't know what to say about Bryce. It's a lost cause. Just fucking give up. I will say this one thing. We got to back off the Tepper's a meddler train. Aside from him, let's say he didn't force Bryce.
You agree, don't you, Tom?
Okay, aside from that, I just don't have any issues with an owner telling Reich to get the fuck out, that he's not seeing any progress. I don't mind him caring. I like that he cares. I wish I would have seen more of Jerry Richardson. I wish fucking Jerry would have said, this is what I want to see, and I'm going to fire people if it doesn't happen. So, you know, of course, I didn't like his press conference talking about fucking events. There are some negatives there. I just don't, I think he cares. The other thing before I head off here, don't let anyone sing the narrative that Panthers fucked up, because everyone was on his Bryce train. Everyone was.
Not everyone.
They're all fucked up. All the fucking quote unquote experts. They fucking suck. There's a narrative. They were singing it. It didn't. I still just don't know what fucking dimension I was transported into, because I never saw it. I still don't see it. The film was never good. Okay, later.
Thank you for the call, my man. Thank you for listening.
I always
to us.
wonder, like, when somebody says that we used to annoy them, like, what was it? And by the way, no, you know, all love. I just want to know what originally was it that made us annoying.
What endeared you? Like, what
I
was
probably
the
had something.
first?
Yeah,
what was the first crack in the armor too?
Probably
Of that.
Yeah.
I like this. Why Big Jordan says, "Who's this caller?" I mean, on social media. So I think he's like, "I'm gonna go ahead and put him on that Bryce Young hater."
There you go, on the list. That's
right. Welcome to social media. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, buddy, this is Harold Sanford. Yo, I just wanted to tell you that caller D. That's a great guy, I tell you. But yo, shout out to the C3 family. Cody.
Yeah.
Greg.
Appreciate
good
you,
night tonight. A lot of compliments.
Panther Pickle. Shut the hell up. G baby.
Well done.
Muscles Marinara. That effing guy. But yo, what I want to say today is
we've got a whole cast of characters.
It's dark. It's rough. And really, I just wanted to get a second call, and I figured this was the only way I was going to
the fake this.
We're all going around in a tissy and a tussle.
I got.
Yeah, he tricked me, man.
It is
got me. Yeah.
Nobody's overreacting. But one thing that I really did want to say while I was listening was one thing that, like Cody threw out there, where when some people say they don't like Bryce and so forth, that the race card pulls in. Well, me being a 43-year-old black man, I can say that Cody Lack is not a racist man.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Yeah. From my first interaction with Cody or any of these guys on the panel, it has been nothing but warm and gracious.
Appreciate
and
you,
I
bro.
can't say that about every Panther podcast. There are some racisms on the reverse end. I don't agree with it. That's why I don't call in. And there's a lot of other shenanigans that you might say about other Panther podcasts. We're not going to let that hang on to C3.
Appreciate
Not
you, bro.
my family, not my brothers, not my people. Okay? We know Tepper's an idiot. We know Fitterer has no backbone. We know that. We know we're upset. We know all of that. We don't have any answers. And we have to see it play out. But my favorite player growing up was Sam Mills. Pretty much how we adopted Keep Pounding. And one thing about him is that man's whole career, he was an underdog. He faced plenty of adversity. He put his head down and he moved forward. That's what we have to do. That's what I'm going to do as a fan. So when I yell that we're going to beat the Saints, I believe it. You can call me an idiot. You can call me stupid. You can call me just overly optimistic. But this is who I am. This is who we should be. Let your frustrations out. This is a therapy session. But you just remember at the end of the day, we're going to keep pounding. And I'm going to keep pounding if you with me or if you without me. If I'm
shout out D, man.
He's got
D is the ultimate homer,
Once
bro.
again, I love y'all. Not going to hold up no more time. Just wanted to end that up. Keep pounding. Keep pounding. Keep pounding.
Thank you, D.
D
Keep
for fam.
pounding, D.
All right, so let's.
Yo, D is the homie, man.
I
Shout
got
out
duped.
D.
I got duped.
Bro, that was. Hey man, that
I was
really
all
kind of.
in.
Hey, that. Yo, we got a cast of characters over here, don't we, bro? We got
I
a
feel like
whole
you turned into Carlton from Fresh
we
Prince
got
of
a
Bel-Air.
whole Avengers magazine
like your
over
voice
here,
was.
dog. And yeah, also about like when y'all come to C3, bro, so much of the world is about race and politics. Bro, we try and let this be somewhere where y'all can get away from that. You know, we're just talking, inevitably talking Panthers is almost like talking politics, you know, because it gets so heated. But hey man, we want everybody to be able to have a good time and hang out with the C3 Panthers pod. So dude, you know we love you, brother. We appreciate y'all, and y'all check out Off the Porch and send that C3 love to my man D.
All right. Let me see. That might be Al. That might have been on perfect time if your first call was at 10.
Well, he said play his third.
Yeah, which I think he's 2372 is I'm hoping. So we're gonna skip and if that number 372 last four.
Man, how everybody doing? It's me, C-Dog 1983 TV. Whenever you come in here, whenever you got them on the live chat, when they got a live show, hit the fucking like button, man. This shit free. Subscribe to the motherfucking content. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to got them subscribe, man, hit the motherfucking like button. You boys go live every goddamn Tuesday, every goddamn Friday, and every goddamn Sunday. C3 Podcast is the longest running Panther podcast on YouTube. They are the fucking GOATs. Period. You know what I'm saying? Then afterwards, we got goddamn.
The callers are jumping tonight,
we got
bro.
goddamn Pat Coltrane and Big Cat and so on and so on. But anyways, man, I'm tired of hearing these fucking excuses about fucking Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a fucking bust. He's too fucking little. How many times Bryce Young got the fucking ball out of bounds? He can't do it. How many times Bryce Young got through the fucking ball with fucking tippy toes and jumping all this bullshit? And then motherfuckers keep talking about receivers. DJ Chark beat a motherfucker DB this past Sunday, but he had to stop to come back to the ball. Cause if Bryce Young could throw a fucking deep ball, it would have been a fucking touchdown. You dumbass delusional motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But I'm tired of all this. I'm tired
He's
of
not
all
wrong.
this shit. He's fucking trash. I'm tired of this shit. Tired of hearing all this bullshit. He's fucking trash. Tepper is fucking trash. What the fuck are we talking about? You silly motherfuckers. God damn.
Add it.
Word up. Anyways, man. Fuck this team, man. Goddamn, man. Don't wish you goddamn money on the goddamn ticket. Plane tickets in that bullshit. Jersey. Fuck that shit.
I meant every
goddamn, go to the beach.
4.
Go to Jamaica. Go somewhere and have a good time with your fucking family. Don't waste no time on these motherfuckers. Shit, Tepper ain't trying to fucking win. But man, the only reason I called in, 'cause I'm tired of all this fucking excuses for this sorry motherfucker. He's a fucking bum. A fucking bum draft bust. He ain't gonna fucking grow up. He's fucking 5'9". Colin Murray is the same height, but Colin Murray can throw the fucking ball, and Colin Murray fucking fast. Bryce Young is slow, and he has no fucking arm. He can't throw receivers open because he don't got no zip on the fucking ball. Every time he throw the fucking ball, there is no fucking zip on the ball. You silly motherfuckers.
Yo,
man.
He can't.
Greg, I want you to go, but I have something to say here.
Tired.
I just want to say something real quick.
What the fuck y'all looking
Go
at?
ahead.
I just want to say something real
I'm
quick.
just agreeing with him. You're good, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck y'all looking at. That's what I'm trying
I'm
to
letting the
figure
army
out.
speak for me right now.
What the fuck are y'all looking at, man? To make you even think.
All right.
Hey, well, can I just say, C Dog is like the yin to G Baby's yang. Like G Baby comes in with all that shit, like how fucking dare y'all disrespect Bryce the Truth, and then here comes C Dog being like, Bryce fucking suck. Get that little midget motherfucker off my team, bro.
What was
Dude.
what were they? They were on side, like they were together on something last year. What
Yeah,
was
they
it?
were, bro. They
Oh,
were
I can't
like,
remember.
but remember, C Dog was always
it
shouting
Baker?
out G baby in the cat calls. He'd be like, "Yo, shout out G motherfucking baby."
Was it Baker? It might have been Baker Mayfield, like their position on
I
Baker.
don't know. I can't remember.
But I would love
not
to
sure.
see. I would love to see the the subtitles of our YouTube video when C Dog comes on the cat calls. It looked like we're 3 spins into a Wheel of Fortune match. Like it just be like.
Have you? Yeah, have you? You guys got to watch this. My favorite TV show of all time, arguably. I can't, but it's probably The Wire. And there's one episode in The Wire where these two cops, McNulty and who's the other one? It'll come to me a second. And they go to this I think I've played it on the podcast before. They go to this apartment, and the whole scene is they only say the F word. Like there's no other words in the scene, and it's like this. One guy's like, motherfucker, fuckity fuck, and the other one's like, mother, and it's this entire 3-minute scene where the only words are motherfucker or fuck, and it is awesome. Actually, it actually is like some of the best acting. This guy in the background's like, damn, these people having a conversation with the F word. Anyway, that's funny. Let's go to the next call. I think this is hopeful. Oh, he said,
"Yo, what's up, C3? This is Al again.
It's the third.
I would like to say that we should trade Burns. Try to get a one for him. Trade Horn. Get whatever we can get for him. Trade Chin. Where Chin's a free agent, can't trade him. I think we should try
this goal. All right, sorry, I got the wrong one. This is it.
Yeah, what's up, C3? I would trade Burns. Trade Horn. I would try to stock up as many picks as I can get, and I would take a quarterback every single year, like you were saying, until he hits. I would take a quarterback every single year in like the 3rd or 4th round until I find one that actually hits. And so we need to get one in here to challenge Bryce. I mean, to try to push him, but I don't really think Bryce is a good quarterback. I think he's a bust, and I would say stop comparing Tua to Bryce because that's like night and day. Tua is way like 1,000 times better than Bryce. And we actually seen the talent down there in Miami, even without talent around him. So I would say trade Bryce, get as much picks as you can get for Burns and Chin or Horn, and then we try to rebuild the team. Might as well fucking tear it all the way down. Just get as much picks as we can get and fucking start the rebuilding process now. Later, guys. Have a good night.
All right. And
appreciate you, man. He's been saying that for a while. He said Tua is not a good comp for Bryce. I still disagree.
But yeah, I don't think it's a good comp. I think they're two different players. You know, I hate bringing this up, but besides the fact Tua is left-handed, that gives him an advantage in the NFL. It's very rare. And you look at Tua's bigger. Size matters. Like I said, the playing in the NFL, it's a big boys game. There's a very few number of people who have been smaller.
I just want to know if whose arm is. Do they have comparable arm strength?
No, I think Tua's got a better arm.
I've seen some clips of Tua throwing this year. Like the last game they played, I forget who they played. Tua had a couple bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, he had one that was like.
I mean, it's hard to gauge him when you have somebody
Yeah.
that can't be overthrown.
But my thing, right? But that's also my
That
point,
is-
though.
Yeah.
Is that you're like nobody said that of Tua originally,
Right,
Just
right.
like nobody's saying it of Bryce Young now. So I still think it is the best comparison. Tua might have an inch of height on him.
I think him a little
Tua
stockier.
might- Yeah, I mean, he's built.
But that
a
could
little
also
bit.
be Bryce Young could put on. Like you got to keep in mind, he hasn't had a full off season of NFL workouts and everything like that. So I think this off season is going to be the most telling as to what type of a player and a body build that Bryce Young's going to have.
Well, can I be honest? Like, I don't watch a ton of college football. I keep up with what I can with it. I remember being way more intrigued with Tua than I was with Bryce. Like just from with a little bit of college that I watch, way more intrigued.
Tua
with
was
Tua than I
on
was
some
with
good
Bryce.
Bama teams that were in the national championship and stuff like that. I think the last time we saw Bryce was with losing to Georgia, maybe.
He had Jameson
Beating
Williams.
Georgia.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't watch a ton. They had a good team. He played for Alabama. He
I
played in the
think
top.
Tua,
He
you won
played in the
that
top
shit.
1% of the NCAA.
Bryce didn't win a
So, I
national
mean,
championship, did he? He just won a Heisman, right?
He won a Heisman. Yeah, and
slightly worse.
That's why
numbers
we
than
don't
Baker
think
did.
of him as excitedly, because he just wasn't on teams that were in the last moment. But all right, here's the last call of the night.
Hey, C3, great show tonight. The only thing I have to say about Bryce Young is I hope he delivers an exciting game on Sunday. He's got to put some work in practice. He's got to find some grip on the ball. You know, all his throws look like lame duck throws. They're hardly ever online. He's got to learn to plant his back foot and do something to find some grip on the ball. I feel like the rest of the team will come hyped up, ready to play, but I hope Bryce Young comes up too, and if you don't, put Andy in.
That's a little late for that, I think, putting Andy in. Be honest with you. Might as well let Bryce ride it out.
All right. Sorry, we got all right. Okay, those are the calls. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I don't think we missed anything tonight. So look, I want to remind everybody, look, we're here after the game on Sunday. We've got the New Orleans Saints this week, and we'll be heading, I think, Green Bay Packers close to Christmas. Hopefully that's not Christmas Eve. I really hope that.
I think it is Christmas Eve.
Yeah, if it's Christmas Eve, oof.
I was almost was going to go to that game, and I'm glad I'm not.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the post game on the Christmas Eve, man. We might have to do a recap post game or something. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the next week. And we've got plenty to talk about. We'll be here forever. We're here on Friday. We're on after the games. We're here every Tuesday night, and we squeeze even more content in when we can. Cody Lack, we got one last segment to rock with, the Ice Up segment, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, get it together. Can we go ahead and ice up some fools?
You know we can.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. The Ice Up segment is where anyone is fair game. We step outside the boundaries of football. Football players are eligible, but anything is eligible in life, where we pay homage to Steve Smith and say, ice up, toughen up, get it together. Do you guys have any burning ice ups on your heart right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely have a couple. All right, so I think I'll go first. I had a bunch saved, but now it's looking like I only have two. I don't know what happened to all of them. But, okay, you know whenever you're watching a magic trick, have you ever seen the trick where, like, they'll put 3 paper bags and there's a needle or something under one of the bags, and you, like, the magician will slam their hand down on one of the bags, and like they kind of switch them up so you don't know which one it is.
Okay.
Well, you better make sure that you're an expert if you're doing those types of things, or else real bad shit could end up happening.
Please say this is on a talk show.
Oh, I really hit that. That was at the end. I really did hurt her.
Oh God.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
It was on a talk show. It was on a talk show.
It was literally on a Norwegian talk show. They showed there's a longer clip of it too.
No,
but,
that's perfect.
Bro. So next
Check
one
my
is
magic out. That bitch is like, you mother.
Okay, so another one is to all my fellas out there, and you need to be careful if ever you're getting a surgery done and the only person to take care of you and bring you back home is your girl, bro, you better be careful of the shit that you say under anesthesia.
Oh God.
Because
this is my greatest fear of my whole
you
life.
might end up regretting it, man.
A couple of days ago, and it was great.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You heard me.
I think that medicine got you hallucinating or talking out your mind or something.
Yes.
What I'm talking about? You just stupid. That's why I love you, because you stupid. You believe anything I say. I've cheated on you so many times.
So many times, huh? So let me ask you this. Last night when you said you was going to work, where was you at?
I was at my baby mama's house. I got a baby on the way.
I'm not pregnant.
Everybody talk about you stupid. I got my side piece pregnant. I'm gonna be there.
Don't worry, we'll be back.
What'd she do to him? Did she just leave him on the concrete? Like she just leave him on the sidewalk and drive
I'm
away?
stupid. I'm stupid. Oh, I can't wait to go home and whoop your fucking ass. You finna be right back up here at this ER.
What?
You finna be right back up here.
What?
You got a baby on the way having threesomes and shit.
Make him drive?
How you?
Bro. So I'm just saying, man, if you don't want your girl to know about your baby mama that you got on the down low and all the wild threesomes that you're having,
Take
bro,
your
don't be-
mama. Have your mama drop you off, bro.
Take your mom,
That's what I'm
not
like,
your
my
girl.
mom. I got my back. That's what I
Bro.
say. Is my mom picking me up?
Yeah. So to that man, I gotta say, ice up, son. Ice up.
All right. You got another? Is that it?
I might have more. Y'all do yours. I'll see
Okay.
if
All right. So let me see. Hey, let's go. All right. This is just kind of some fun ones here. Is this right here? Let's see. Says house explodes when police and I hope I haven't shown this one before.
This was
This is
the
in
DC
Virginia.
thing. Yeah.
And
I heard about this. I didn't see it yet, though.
It's crazy.
it's just like, hey, we're about to go raid this meth house.
Oh, I do have one more ready to go.
Well, do you know the story behind it?
Whoa.
Do you know the story behind it?
No, it's got to be meth.
No.
That
So,
or
okay, no.
terrorism.
The guy's name is like I can't remember.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry. I pressed that. I was trying to remove my.
Well, here's the funny thing is like,
what's his name again?
I can't remember the guy's name.
Okay,
it was
thank
like it was like Chris Chu or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name exactly. But he had fired like 15 flares out of his backyard, right? And he lives in a duplex. So his neighbors had called the police because he'd been firing these flares off, and it's like, like what the hell's going on? Well, they went back and searched his stuff, and he has like multiple lawsuits against the DOJ, against the government, against Donald Trump. Like they look at his LinkedIn, and he's absolutely insane. However, they haven't announced what happened to this guy in this house, because what happened was the cops came there and he blew up the house. From what I understand, nobody died. Okay,
He just blew himself up.
They haven't announced what happened to this guy yet. And this morning, all of his social media, his LinkedIn, everything was scrubbed off the internet.
Of course it is, dude.
So
Look at this,
it's really
dude.
crazy, man. It's really
Look
crazy
at
what happened to
this.
the story. Yeah.
Look, this guy blew himself up.
Well, he blew this house up, and like I said, he was in a duplex.
The whole half the block. If you look at where the duplex is at, dude, you can see it. It's off. It's not that brick joint. It's off to the left. Do you see that little light down there? That is down. Don't look left to the porch. There is another building right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So when this mug explodes, it takes the building beside it down.
Yeah.
Like, good. Yeah. All right. So to that,
Wild,
to
dude.
blowing up your neighbor's house, ice up. This one just made me giggle. I don't know why. It's probably not good. because I've seen mean videos of the police all the time. I don't know if this is police. I don't know what it is. But...
Holy
So it's this. It looks like a cop or a security guard. It looks like a cop. Power bombs, like, but what would you call this? A straight body slam, a real body slam. Oh,
damn! It's like Kane.
But this is what made me giggle about this.
Dollar bills.
Golly.
Juju said, "Why the money drop like a GTA?" Dude, I couldn't stop laughing. Oh, and I got one other one I gotta do is did you guys see the damn I didn't like this video. Hold on, somebody else go because I gotta do the jalapeno kid.
All right, so I got one more.
All
right. You know those restaurants where the whole shtick of the restaurant is they're supposed to be mean to you? Like all the waiters, all the servers,
like dicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they're just dicks. All they do is insult you the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, this dude brought his poor grandma, and she has no idea, like that the restaurant is like this is their gimmick. This is what they do. So they start talking to her and check it out.
That's kind of fucked up. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of fucked up. You're rocking her world right now, man.
Yes. Grandma, if you cry in the toilets, there's no
It's good. All right.
This poor woman, she's just like.
She walked in anyway. I thought she was gonna walk up. Oh my God! Can you take it a little further?
Whoa.
That's kind of messed up right there.
I don't know I don't even know who I'm icing up. Like, part of me wants to ice up the children. Like,
family,
come on, dude. Like, tell me, what if you brought your mom to that place?
Yeah, I mean, if you're laughing and watching it, you should walk out right after that. Like 2 seconds of it. She had enough. Everybody had enough. Here, I go. All right, so look at this. This might be one of my favorite YouTube internet videos of all time. This kid, they give him a jalapeno.
Oh, I saw you post this.
Dude, I've watched this like 100 times. Watch this shit. This kid, they're going to give him jalapeno. They look like they may be in a sushi restaurant or something to that effect.
You sure it's not wasabi if it's a sushi restaurant?
The side eye.
No, I'm taking this. That's great.
It's good. Speed bugger and flip the script. Flip the script. It does. I know. I would think wasabi too. It says baby tries jalapeno pepper though in the thing. Either way, that shit made me giggle. So ice up to
poor kid.
A sadness and thank you for that kid being the fun in my life.
Yeah, I mean, plus in the holiday season, the kid really embodies the Whoville people as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looked kind of like a Who. I thought the same exact thing. Oh man!
If you've got an ice up pick, here's your chance to get in there and give it.
Great.
I've got one, but CK. Yeah, I've got one. But if you want to go, you can.
Go ahead, dude.
All right. So Tesla truck has come out recently.
Ooh.
They've been talking about this truck for years, and I was very interested in it because when they first came out with it, they said it was going to be $31,000 or $41,000, which for a truck is phenomenal. But these things are pretty amazing from what I understand, even though they just rolled out the price of them at $61,000 now, and they're coming out in 2 years. But I don't know if y'all remember, I'm going to present this real quick. 4 years ago,
yes,
when they talked about the Tesla truck, they did a presentation where they tried to show that the Tesla truck had bulletproof glass. Okay, so this is 4 years ago. I want to play this one. So what they do is they take a steel ball. And this is the guy who designed the bulletproof glass. Okay, so he has a steel ball and he's going to show how it's bulletproof.
Oh my
Okay.
God!
All right. So that's 4
Maybe
years
that was
ago. All right. So
All right.
now they've improved the truck and they've tried to do a whole bunch of things for it. And now it's supposed to be coming out soon. So now they have the new one and they do the exact same thing. They change it up just a little bit.
Throw a tennis ball at it though.
They throw a baseball at it. Okay. So here is them throwing a baseball at. Watch how limp wristed he throws this. Like barely throws the ball at all at the window. Here's my question: if you're going to try to prove
It
that your
doesn't look
windows
like
and
a
your glass,
truck.
and your
Where's
truck
the
is
truck part?
Oh, you never
he's
seen the
not
truck
even
before?
showing it. Dude, he has PTSD
Look up the Cybertruck
about the
when you get a
last
chance.
time he did that thing.
Where is the actual
Yeah.
bed?
It's back. Well, I can't really. It's back here where you can see me. This is the bed. Look up the Cybertruck. It's actually a pretty cool
It's
truck.
the El Camino, dude. That's all
that is the
is.
ugliest shit I have ever seen.
There you go.
Dude.
Yeah, but 380 miles to the charge. And hold on, I'll give you more details about it in a second. But listen, if you're going to prove your truck is bulletproof, why wouldn't you just fire a bullet at it? Why wouldn't you just shoot it? Like, what sense does it make to throw a baseball at it to show it's bulletproof? But just so y'all know, this truck right here in test, and I can show y'all a video with a Porsche 911, raced a Porsche 911 the other day and smoked it while it was towing.
That's because I want to fucking take my truck and drive
it was towing a
97
Porsche
miles an
911 and
hour
smoked
to the dump. What the fuck? Who cares if a truck can go? Okay.
Hey, it's an awesome truck, man.
Listen, I think it's not going to have.
It's going to be a really cool truck.
It's not going to be a truck that is going to be bought for function 9 times out of 10, right? People aren't going to be.
It's all for
looks. I
agree.
Right.
All for looks.
There is the other component to this that this is a prepper's dream truck, and so the people that are like the end of the world is nigh. They're going to be buying this thing up like nobody's business.
Okay. All right. So the ice up goes to the advertising for.
Yeah, I guess Tesla. Yeah.
Bulletproof. Use real bullets. CK, go ahead.
Honestly, mine's kind of. It's funny that you went Elon Musk. Mine's going to go to the advertisers. Whether you like Elon or not, you're going to have a different opinion on the matter. But he was on public television. I don't know if we didn't talk about this last week.
Oh, is this when he just said F
yes. Well, basically,
that was wild.
He was asking. People were asking about the advertisers, and he said, "Fuck off." He said this. He said, "F them." If you want to try to blackmail me with advertising, and he uses his hands and he doubles down. He goes, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
He said, "I don't want your
He
advertising."
tripled down on it, and he said he said that if they do that, they are aware that they're going to drive Twitter out of business, and those exact big money advertisers are going to have to report to the people of Earth.
I heard that too.
That's what he said. He just kept saying this. I wonder how Earth will like the disappearance of Twitter over whatever.
Well, the funny thing is I do believe that that there's a large majority of people who would probably be very upset and very well might not support those companies. But all in all, I think Twitter's going to be fine. There's going to be a large group of similar to when you see platforms like the Daily Wire or any of these companies that are not necessarily friendly to advertising. They're going to be fine. They're going to find people who are willing to come and advertise on their platform, and it's going to work out. But it is at the end of the day, I think this is hysterical, and I love the fact that he's willing to do this because, listen, a lot of people think of him as like a billionaire who just throwing a hissy fit, but I'm like, he's a billionaire who isn't beholden to your money. Who else are you gonna like? You can't blackmail him because he doesn't need you. And so that part I love about that is that you can't have a world that's subject to cancel culture, cancel one of the most rich people in the world because he's got the money to be able to overcome that. So I think that's awesome.
Yes. That is awesome. I agree.
If you go back to never mind, I was going to give you guys a history lesson on why republicanism requires financial independence. Anyway, that's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions into the wee hours of Wednesday morning. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Check out the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your show. Cody and you guys, tell them what you need to tell them and then get us out of here.
Yeah, man. On Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Every Friday at 7 p.m. we're doing the Friday free for all where you can join the show, be a part of the show, and join via StreamYard just like we are now. And man, every 30 minutes after the game on Sunday, C3 post-game show. The film room will be back this week sometime either Wednesday or Thursday. But we're going to keep on grinding out that content for y'all C3 faithful. We appreciate y'all and all the kind words y'all have said to us tonight, man, on Twitter, in the cat calls, in the chat room. We do this for y'all. So C3 Nation, we love y'all. That's it for me.
Anybody? CK? You can follow him on Twitter.
Yep, the code Dizzle Allen. And I'll continue to be on there. It's not going to be a matter of Bryce can do no wrong, but I will be out there expressing the opposite side of the argument that many of the people are going to have about Bryce Young. So if you're interested in seeing that, feel free to go over on Twitter and or on X and give me a good old follow.
You're doing the Lord's work. Greg, thanks for hanging out with us this Tuesday. It's awesome to catch back up.
Yeah, man, definitely. Honestly, I'm away from Twitter. It's very liberating to be away from social media. Twitter's my only form of social media. I've kind of X'd it out of my life. X'd it out of my life. It's great. So you can find me here unless you got my number. Catch me Tuesdays. And any other time I can try to go on the show, Sundays, Thursdays, and so. Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. Greg, thanks for hanging out. Cody, take us out of here, please.
C3 Nation, until next time, keep pounding.